Thank you.
It's hot.
Good evening. Hi, it's warm. No air conditioners in the windows either, so.
Let's open the window.
Open one right behind you.
Nazi, just so you know, if you put that window up, you have to put it back down, and you do not like to go down.
I'll take the chance.
John, I've never taken you as a liar, so I'm still not, you speak the truth.
No, you know what he means is, it's like my kids, they know how to turn lights on.
Not off.
Kids, I got a house full.
Well, yeah, they're
Light
from,
turn around,
kids from age,
don't know how to shut it off.
kids from age, like, 40 to 60.
Oh, I got a wife that, I swear, she's got stock in the electric company. I come home and everything's on, and she's even in the home.
Yeah.
And then the dogs cowl because I'm doing nothing but walking up and down, shutting lights off all over the house.
All right, very well. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. And welcome to the Wareham Zoning Board of Appeal for tonight's meeting. It is April 12, 2023, and we are at the Multi-Service Center at the room 320, 48 Marion Road, Wareham. I'm going to call the meeting to order, make a roll call. My far left, Mr. Richard Semple. On my far right, our associate member, Mr. Troy Larson. Regular member, Veronica Debonese. Our clerk, Mr. Jim Akabachi. And myself, the chair, Nazi Al-Khalasi. We have some quick business to do. With the minutes, Mr. Morrison's not in tonight, so Mr. Larson will be sitting on his chair throughout the night.
Not on Zoom either?
Not on Zoom either. All right, on the meeting, before we go forward, last time Richard had mentioned something about I want to discuss this about voting. And we said, like, all in favor say aye, nay, whatever, and it kind of rushes it out. He's right. We went to the planning board, me and him, and I like how Mr. Michael runs it. And he calls by the name, like Veronica, yes.
One at a
Jim.
time?
And this way, it gives you a chance.
A roll
instead of-
call vote.
You know, it's much better, and especially if you end up being in court, it's much better for everybody.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we'll be doing that. That being said, let's go to the meeting, to the minutes. Minutes.
I'm not sure I reviewed this set of minutes. I'm not sure if I brushed my teeth this morning. It's been one of them days. so.
They're right here, Jimmy.
Oh, see, there you go.
Did you know, I think it was last week.
Can we table
hard
these
time
until later in the
navigating my
meeting so
email
I
this
can
week.
just review before I,
I got nothing but pictures of everybody's companies.
unless somebody else feels they reviewed them and is ready to
I
make a
didn't, so-
recommendation?
I did not.
All right. Veronica, did you review them?
I'm
No.
pretty sure that I did, but, I'm not 100%.
All right, so why don't we push them till next time? So can we get a motion to push them till next time?
I make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor to push the minutes till next meeting on the 22nd, on April 27th?
7th?
No, is it 27th?
Aye.
April 26th meeting.
Oh, yeah, 26.
All in favor, say Troy,
Aye.
Veronica, Jim,
Aye.
Richard,
Aye.
and myself, aye. So that will move it till the 26th.
Well, I have seen this, but I haven't read it well.
All
so-
right, we are in April. Okay. All right, and continue public hearing for 29-22 for Joshua D. Olim on special permit 2618 Cranberry Highway.
We have a correspondence looking to withdraw without prejudice.
All right, Counselor?
That's right, Robert Terry representing Mr. Deolum. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot get final site plan reviews out of the engineers. They didn't give me anything until a few days ago, and they gave me what they called preliminary plans, which did not satisfy our bylaw on site plan review. I have no choice but to withdraw without prejudice and come back if ever these plans that have been contracted for by my client are in a format that this board would like to see and that the bylaw requires.
I would like to withdraw with prejudice, because I drove by there, they operating like a body shop, tow company, mechanic. There's cars everywhere, and we have to, I would not even
So if you
just
do it with
withdraw.
prejudice, that means they can't come in front of us for 2 years.
Right,
So what
and-
happens to the ongoing operation?
Will be cited by the commissioner, and will go into a record for violation, might go to court. I don't know, that's my feeling.
Yep.
So, what do you, Troy, what do you think?
I agree.
Veronica?
I'm not sure that I agree with that. Oh, okay. Thanks. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I feel like I'd like to see action by the town to push the applicant to move forward legally, but I feel like if we dismiss it with prejudice, then he doesn't have that opportunity to do that.
But the time we gave him, we extended this, it's almost a year we've been extending it. So,
So, but I mean, the
I've given them a
violations...
chance to come up with plans. And they've been under violation over, and, I mean, I've seen it in my own eyes, I've been there.
Is he being acted, I mean, I don't know if you know this, it's probably, but what's the fines look like? Is he being fined, or is he just paying it? I don't...
No, there's no fines, but
Has he received any letters?
I'm sure, I don't know, if
violation?
Commissioner,
I heard there was a complaint, and I asked that, and he claims he hasn't received any letters of any sort now. I know that he gotten rid of a lot of stuff, whether he's brought anything else, because I haven't been there for some time, I don't know, but I do know this kid is taking it on the chin, a young kid, trying to make a living. He bought the place on the basis that there was that great big garage and was supposedly already in operation dealing with motor vehicles. Then the seller, after the fact, refused to cooperate and do his affidavits and do what he had to do to support the fact that he'd been doing business there for years. And for years, I mean, 20, 25 years. Now, he's hired these plans out, he can't get the plans. Something he
Mr.
has to do, if he's,
Mr. Turner, can you
Think
come
what he
forward,
does it.
please? If, Council, just for a minute. Have you cited this gentleman? I mean, you've sent him a letter, right? He's in violation?
I remember seeing something come across, but I didn't know if it was from you or not.
If you come close to the mic and just state your name for the record.
Sorry. Paul Turner, Building Commissioner. I don't have them with me, but he has been cited, or that site has been cited for the past 8 to 9 years. I went out when I first started here this past summer, and with George Stewart, the local inspector, we introduced ourselves, and we were told that we were trespassing and get off the property. So I thought I did well getting them to apply to the ZBA. And
you
But the problem is, he has no respect for the zoning bylaws.
Commissioner, just
Fully
direct it to us.
operational.
And just direct your comments to us.
Fully operational. I submitted a email to the board and it shows his website. So,
We got
he's
it.
able to stay in business and keep working. The neighbors put up with it, but they can't get an engineer.
Counselor, what do you say?
Well, I think the
I'd
building
like
commissioner
Jimmy.
may be my best buddy on this thing.
I'd like to
because
make a comment
He's telling
before.
you, I'm sorry, Nazzy asked me to speak.
No, no, but I wanted to, I'm interrupting you because I'm hearing something that I heard before and I'm remembering. There's 2 parcels of land side by side. When this first came in front of us, the complaint is against this Joshua Deolum. It says 2618 Cranberry Highway. But I keep hearing commentary about the abutting parcel, which is owned by Joshua's father, Tony. That's where the steel building is. That's the guy that's been going on for 20 or 25 years. Joshua hasn't owned this property for 8 years, so it'd be pretty hard for him
I
to
don't
be
know
being...
That's what I was gonna say.
So, I think that Peter is getting blamed for Paul a little bit here, and I don't know if the complaint is against Peter or Paul. And I don't know, I just want to get that out and clear,
Okay.
that I think
I was
that,
going to kind of say the same thing, quite honestly, because my client, I don't think has owned it for 2 years now. But there's been complaints about that property for, what did you just say, I apologize, 8 or 10 years?
8 to 9 years, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the prior owner who now refused to cooperate with us, who operated a similar operation there. He's the one who built the big garage and all. Now, yes, next door is my client's father. My understanding is my client is doing anything at all now, he's doing it next door, under his father, who I believe is operating legally. I don't think there's any issue with him. He's been there forever. I think it's got to be 25, 30 years ago that I represented him.
All right, why don't we investigate this a little more? Richard, what do you think? Why don't, what do you think?
Well, it sounds that the young Jason Olnham, he's trying to do what he's trying to do, but he's not getting cooperation from anybody, and it's been a year, and I'm kind of a little frustrated at the point, I mean, yes, he can't get his plans, but at the same time, he's had a lot of time here to get this done,
So you want to withdraw without prejudice or with prejudice?
with prejudice.
With prejudice?
I remember now too, Mr. Turner, you did send that website thing that, I had forgotten about that. And it's pretty obvious that it's fully operational.
Okay, I guess without prejudice, you're not going to get the numbers. So what do you want to do?
I don't know, continue for another couple of years for me to get my plans?
That's
I mean,
not...
I don't know what to do. I understand your position.
What we will
If
do,
he's
we'll
gotten-
close it and
if he's
get...
gotten now any kind of a citation, I would have been right on it. You know, the first I heard about any issue at all that was being raised was from Jonathan a day or two ago. And I called my guy, I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Nothing, I'm working with my father's." And
I have a
I
question.
said, "Did you get a letter?" And he said, "No, I'm sorry." "Yes, sir, Mr. Ekbach."
My question is, earlier you commented that there have been some plans, but they fell short of what this board asked for.
That's correct. They fell short
So-
of what the bylaw provides for.
So if I suggest we continue tonight for the 2 weeks, which is the minimum amount of continuance we can give, because we only meet in 2 weeks, and you come back with what plans are drawn as some evidence that some effort has been made, then we can direct, you know,
He's not going to have those plans ready, believe me.
Well,
not in 2 weeks.
I didn't bring what I had because I didn't see this was going to be such a horrible nightmare here for me tonight. I could have brought the plans I have. They're not satisfactory.
Why don't we get them, let's see a motion for withdrawal without prejudice, see who will, can I have a motion on that?
I'll move to continue for 2 weeks so that we get an opportunity to see what efforts have been made in the form of...
Before we do this, anyone in the public want to speak in favor or against this matter? Yes, please come forward. Have a seat, Chris. State your...
Christopher Conti, 2616 Cranberry Highway. I'm a direct abutter to Joshua Diolam, actually 360 feet on one side. He's been fully operational since he bought the place 2 years ago. They don't have any respect. The place is a mess. They've dragged this on and dragged this on now for, almost a year. Also, the building that he's talking about, it's a small building. They don't even pull any cars into that building that's on that property. It used to be, he said, the previous owner built that. My 70-something-year-old neighbor told me that used to be a horse stable. So I don't know what building, big, large building that he's talking about. So I think this has gone on long enough, and I would like to see you withdraw with prejudice.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor or against? I hear none. Okay, so we have a motion by Jim to continue. Do I have a second? Okay, no second, it's lost. Another motion.
So I guess I'd like to just make...
Discuss, we could discuss.
Okay. It seems to me like if we close this with prejudice, what's the difference between doing that and closing it without prejudice?
We
Because
don't
this-
have to. We could close the public hearing and deny it. We could deny the motion to withdraw. We don't have to accept the motion to withdraw the case.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is how do we prod this applicant to do something different from what he's actually doing? And I feel like closing it or withdrawing with prejudice
Make a
isn't gonna do
motion to
that.
close the public hearing, a motion to deny. Don't grant a motion to withdraw. You could motion to close it. And make your own motion to deny it. It goes on record, it gets recorded, the registry of deed, done. Then if the commissioner goes to court, he has something in hand, if that's your wishes.
I mean, I wish the applicant would
So do I.
move forward.
That's why haven't been down there the past 5-6 months, citing violations or stopping there. So as soon as they applied and Mr. Perry called me, said, would you reissue that letter, redate it? I did it immediately, handed it to him.
It's my,
I wanted to get done, like everyone else in this room wants to have it be legit, cleaned up, fixed.
Right.
Operate correctly.
right. It's my feeling that if he had some kind of monetary fine, that there would be a little bit of prod for him to move forward legitimately. But if we close with prejudice or withdraw it with prejudice, that can't happen. And it's kind of like, I feel like he should have an opportunity to be prodded in that manner so that he can move forward in a legal way. But if we close that, he won't be able to really go in either direction.
No, if you close it and he's denied, he could come back with a
application.
substantially different plans or modified plans and apply again.
That's kind of how I guess I would like to move with this to.
Richard?
I'm sticking with what I suggested and agreed to.
Jim?
I think that the operation that's there is legitimate, it just needs to be documented personally, so I'm not going to say anything to move in a negative direction. I've expressed my opinion, I'd like to see what plans have been drawn, and if they're plans that the town can work with. I think that the
They are.
area
It's
is...
not in the manner that they satisfy the site plan review bylaw as the
There's,
chairman asked us to do, which is
It's an allowed use in the zone, it just calls for a special permit.
special permit and site plan review.
And
Yes,
site
you're right,
plan
you're
review.
right. It's
And
not a
so-
big deal, it's just,
We just need to have a
I
site
haven't
plan
been able to
review.
get there.
So, I'm just saying, if we take an adverse approach towards this, it's gonna be appealed, and then it's gonna be tied up in court, and so what's the benefit? I'd like to see what plans have been drawn, and if any, if no plans come, then we've got a very good reason to say, you're pulling our leg. But I don't believe they're pulling our leg, because I've dealt with too many projects right now that you can't get an engineer to satisfy the needs of the developer or the developers. So,
So either way, he's still operating his business, and he shouldn't be. And he hasn't been penalized for anything, he's just been able to kick the can down the road. He's going to continue to kick the can down the road, that's all I'm saying. I mean, with anybody else in this town, would have to do the same thing. We've been patient, patience has kind of run out at this point. That's my feelings on that.
How do
I
you
mean,
feel, Troy?
he's even got people being thrown off the town officials off of some of the next door neighbor's property. He's getting mad saying, just leave, they're both in there. I mean, that's not cooperation.
True. You know, I feel kind of the same way as Richard. I don't want to stop somebody from trying to make a living, but you got to put in the effort. And maybe we should be fining.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last thing you said?
I said, we got to see that the effort's being put in to comply to the zoning rules, and maybe there should be fines. Maybe that would be the incentive to get it done.
If you're concerned, if that's what's going on, because I haven't been there, I don't have any reason to be there, fine him. I don't have a problem with that if he's not in compliance, but I will tell you this. As far as coming before the board of commissioners, he's not been jerking anybody around, because I'm the one on the phone constantly, emailing constantly to the engineers, and saying, look, fellas, I gotta publish, Nazi's told me, by early March. I got the date in my schedule book. You haven't given me a thing. I don't know what I have to apply for variances or...
Has the gentleman, Mr. Diolim, paid the engineer, met him? For a year, it's hard to believe that you can get a site plan engineer to do it for 1 year. I mean, I get things, I know I do probably a lot more work than this gentleman, but a lot of people come in here and they get things done within 2, 3, 4 months. I personally like to close the public hearing and move
My
forward.
understanding is that John says that, yes, this guy's my client, but at the same time, he says, we'll get it done when we can get it done. And this, you know, what do I do about
Which engineering firm is that?
J.C.?
JC?
So I guess I'll make a motion to continue,
So you wanna, okay.
just to give them a chance to bring the
Another
drawings. if they
motion by
wanted to see
Veronica
them,
to
so-
continue for 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
Yes.
I'd
Until
second that.
26. Second by Jim, all in favor, say aye. Troy?
Nay.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
No. Myself, Nazir, no. Richard?
Nay.
Okay, then fly. Next one. Okay, if there's no next one, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Jim, all in favor to close public hearing. Richard?
Aye.
Myself is aye. Jim?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Okay, discussion. None, motion. Any motions? If I hear none, I'll make one. I'll make a motion to deny 29-22 Joshua D. Orlean for special permit 2618 Cranberry Highway for special permit and site plan review. Do I have a second on the motion?
I second.
Second by Richard. All in favor, say aye. Richard?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye. Jim?
Nay.
Veronica?
Aye.
Troy?
Aye.
Okay, it's denied. Thank you, Counselor. Okay, next case, 33-18. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Perry. That's you, I think. 696 Realty LLC.
Come on up here.
This gotta be read in or any of this? No, this is all ongoing stuff.
Okay, I know you have talked to me about this matter. Now explain to me how it's not reapplied. That's the lot you applied for a variance, right?
I initially, in 2018, asked the board to overturn the building commissioner, who denied it as a grandfathered lot.
Okay,
We then got nowhere. We
Okay.
spent about a year back and forth, and the board asked me to refile. So I refiled in 2019. Basically, it's the same exact petition. I just typed a new date on it.
all
In
right.
fact,
If I may, while I was away, did you guys open this matter? This was,
Yeah, I believe this got reopened.
you opened it last time?
Oh, I don't remember hearing this being called.
Did you open it?
This was not
Counselor?
reopened, this is not a remand hearing.
There with no notice, and it was put on the agenda, and we kind of were blindsided by him being back, if I remember right,
When?
when you were away, or what?
So it was on the agenda, you open it and continue it?
No, it wasn't on the
well,
agenda. He ended up being
it was some
here.
time ago, all right?
What, some time ago?
Oh, months ago, and I've been remiss on not getting back before this. Town council and I, at one of the many pretrial conferences in the Superior Court in this case, agreed, and the court sanctioned us coming back before this board. We did that, and
If I may,
we never really closed that meeting.
there was no documentation to support that. I contacted the town, I contacted the planning office, I contacted Attorney Bowen, I believe it was, or whoever was,
Well, I
and
don't
there
think you
was...
contacted Attorney Bowen. I mean, he and I discussed this as,
Let me,
It was- there
if
was
I
no
may,
paperwork.
if I may, so It's here for discussion or a continued public hearing or new public hearing? That's what I'm,
I think it's here as a continuation of the public hearing that took place many months ago.
In 2018.
Well, no. Well, first of all, I have two petitions, and the two petitions are both before the court. This was a hearing that took place, I can't tell you.
all
the
right,
date,
let me
but-
say something. Why can't we make it, this is a little confusing. Why don't you apply again and come on a regular public hearing?
Well,
I thought when you, I have to disclose that you called me about it. I said, fine, continue it. But I thought you guys was before them while I was away, and you opened it and continue it. I didn't know it was, what's that?
But no,
I was away last month.
no, it wasn't last month we were here, it was 3
Ah,
months ago,
okay.
okay? It was still 22 when we came before you. We didn't close that hearing, and Mr. Bowen and I agreed that we would come back tonight. In fact, I thought he was going to be on Zoom, because I asked him yesterday.
If it didn't continue, close, it's dead or constructively granted or something.
Mr. Chairman?
You know, first of all, I don't,
Yes, let's hear from Kenny. Yes, Mr. Buckland.
This is not a remand hearing. This is a discussion on an item that's been requested to be reconsidered before it goes to court on May 1st, I believe, is when the court date is set.
Okay, much better answer. Thank you. So you're here discussing it before it goes to court. Are you guys going to court for that on May 5th?
yeah, the 26th, the day of your next meeting, we have final pretrial conference, and I think it's about May 1st, we start trial.
Okay,
Mr. Bowen and I have been trying to avoid that for some time. I don't like to speak for him, but I have been speaking with him.
So I'm just wondering why the board hasn't gotten documentation
Back in '22.
on anything.
I think we did get, when it was 3-4 years ago when it was appealed to court. But if you're going to court, what do you want from us?
Mr. Bowen and I thought we might resolve this prior to court, save a 3-day trial, and save everyone involved, which is not these two gentlemen.
Okay, what's the gentleman with you?
This is my client, Mr. Joseph Presby.
I am the last surviving member of 96 LLC.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna
You're gonna,
recuse myself at the moment. There's been no paperwork and I've called and found and asked, but there's been nothing. I'm gonna just step aside and let you guys handle this.
that's okay, you can stay in your chair. You don't have to this. Okay. So now you got 4 people. You want to continue or stick?
Can't continue, I mean, the thing's up for trial.
Let's go to trial, see what happened. What happened with the trial, and if not, come back for another variance. That's been over 2 years. Apparently, we're 4 members.
Let me ask you something, Nazzy.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Do you think when I file my complaint, it stops the running of the 2 years? In other words, will you accept my application?
We did not deny you, I recall. We did not act. You went and filed a constructive
That's fine.
grant, and it was
Everybody on the board
appealed.
Except Mr. Morrison abstained.
No, I don't,
Just for the record, I wasn't on the board.
No, you were
when it
not,
came.
that's what I said.
Just,
oh, okay.
and again, we were here at a meeting, he came in and he started talking about how Miss Debonese was recusing herself, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing, and it kind of turned into a crazy meeting, and it wasn't put on the agenda. And that's when we talked about it, and you were out of town.
Ah, okay.
And then, so it just seems like we're just getting poked in the eye every time. Is this a meeting, or is it not a meeting?
It's not, apparently, it's not a meeting. Councilor Perry asking us if we reconsider so it doesn't go to court. That's what you're asking.
That's not what I'm asking. That's what Ken says I'm asking, but that's not what I'm asking.
Oh, what are you asking?
We came before you after Mr. Bowen and I were in court, and for reconsideration, effectively. And we did. It became a fiasco. And we did not close that meeting, and we've agreed that we would come back and continue that meeting. Now, if that's a no-no from your point of view, then I don't have a lot of...
I wasn't here at that time, what happened.
Yeah, and at that time, you were still reclusing yourself anyway, as I recall. So
I mean, I don't mind saying on there right now, so the very first question I asked you, do you want to continue with 4 board members? Whatever answer you're gonna get.
Well,
I mean, whether we say yes, we discuss it or not, we have 4 members. You need the 4 out of 4. Are you interested?
that discussing bothers me. I mean,
Or reconsidering, whatever you're calling it.
well, that's what I'm calling, is reconsidering. I think there's a difference, but there may not be. I mean, you and I just may be using a different term. Plus, one of the thrust of my complaint in the Superior Court is that I think I'm entitled to 5 members.
Right.
Unfortunately, you got a member that didn't show up tonight. You know, as I said, Rich and I are trying to resolve this in some manner because it's going to be a long, hard trial. I've got to get a lot of subpoenas out, including for you, for Jim, for Mr. Conti, for everybody who was on the board then. And as well as...
I don't know what you...
Yes, Ken. I brought Ken in.
I know what we gotta, I don't know what you want us to do, what you like me to do.
I'm sure they'd love us to say, just go build a house there, and that would end the whole problem.
Well,
Say that again?
that's a good answer, but he's not gonna get votes.
So, just for the record, for anybody that's any less confused than others, for the record, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
On July 18th, 2018, there was a denial letter written to 96 Realty LLC. That's July 18, 2018, signed by David Requena.
That's correct.
There were 4 bullets on that of why that there was a denial. In August of 2018, there was a letter from Attorney Perry attached to an application on August 2nd of 2018, seeking a variance. And on September 12th, so we got July, August, September 2018, there was a notice of public hearing read into the record. And then there's a plan here. That's the only thing we have in the file at this time.
When is the court, Counselor? When's the hearing?
The final pretrial conference is the 26th, the same day as your next meeting.
Okay.
You know, I can help a little bit, because I refiled on May 9, 2019. What do we got, 1, 2, 3, 4?
I know, because if it's in litigation, I'll be very uncomfortable making a decision without a counselor. I mean,
Talking about being here, I'm shocked that he isn't here.
You don't have to give me one.
it'd be nice if our counselor would direct us, because we're not lawyers.
That's why I expected him here tonight. He said he'd be here.
I thought Attorney Bowen might be on Zoom,
Well, that's where he was going to be.
not on Zoom,
Going
okay.
back now on COVID again, so. He wasn't going to come in person. I don't remember the last time I saw him here in person anyway.
I corresponded with Attorney Bowen, and what he suggested was if the Board of Appeals was familiar with the facts of the case, then he wasn't needed in this discussion.
Say that again, Ken? What'd you
The
say?
attorney didn't feel as though he had anything to contribute.
Ah,
Not if you were familiar with the facts of the case.
I don't know what to say. If we reconsider, you know, you're not getting all the votes, I would say go to court, see what happened, come back and apply.
Well, it sounds like you may be correct, so I'll get my subpoenas out to you folks.
I think so. If you court us in 2 weeks, there's no sense extending it for 2 weeks, because I'm sure it'll be before 5 o'clock.
Say again, Nazzy, I'm sorry.
I said, if you're court on the 26th, apparently court will be before our hearing. So if it was on the 27,
The final pretrial conference is 2 o'clock on the 26th.
Pre-trial conference.
Yeah, and then 1 week later, the actual trial starts. The only problem I have is I'm up against it to get everything out and ready. So, if
I guess you gotta push your secretary
Rich
to
told,
get it
well, I
ready.
mean, I can do it, but if Rich told Ken something totally different than he told me,
I know,
I
and
guess I'd better talk with Rich.
probably a good idea, because like I said, and when it comes to litigation, I won't allow my members to act on something under litigation. We'll get in big trouble.
That's why I
You
asked him to be
understand
here
that?
tonight. He told me he would be here.
Right.
Kind of surprised that he didn't give me the courtesy of telling me if he wasn't going to be here.
So I guess we'll make no action and talk to him, I mean, how you guys gonna work it out for pre-conference, pre-trial conference, and see what happened.
Well, if I came back to 26 here, I wouldn't be any different than I am tonight, I guess.
No, I was thinking of the 26th, you make sure, or we'll make sure to talk to Counselor Bowen to have something.
Well, you know, I hate to spend this guy's money. I've spent this guy's money for so long, it's unbelievable. And, you know, he's already got, he's paying for a buildable lot, tax-wise. He paid a water betterment for the property, and he's told he can't use it even though he continues to pay. He does all kinds of things for the town of Wareham, even though he doesn't live in the town of Wareham. He's been a very good citizen for the town, and this is a...
I totally understand, Counsel,
But,
a
you know,
lot of good people,
maybe-
doesn't make zoning different. You could be the worst person.
This thing should have been a long time ago. Maybe, Nazi, when I go in the 26, perhaps I can get the judge to once again tell Mr. Bowen and I to get back down here before you.
There you go.
Now, if the judge does that, that would be a hearing on the merits here.
Well, judge can do whatever they say goes, so if
Well, I
they
mean, that's
say
the
we
only
gotta
thing-
hear
that's
you,
the
we
only
have
thing
to
I'm gonna
hear
do,
you.
Okay?
What's that?
That's the only thing I'm gonna do.
Right,
Based
I mean,
on
if
the
the
last
judge
time-
said we have to hear you, we have to hear you. Whatever your court order would say, if he says come back here and Mr. Bowen has to be here, I'm sure if a judge told Mr. Bowen to be
The
here,
judge
he'll be
says that, I
here.
don't care if Mr. Bowen comes or he doesn't come.
I'm sure if
I'll be
he
here.
asks him to come, he will be
I'll
here. So, I guess this is the only,
Well, I think that's it. I mean, I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
it.
we
I'm
can't
gonna
do-
accomplish
we can't even,
absolutely nothing tonight.
we can't even recommend or
If,
comment or anything, or vote or anything on it. We don't know what to do. Unless I mean, if you suggest we vote, and you know you're not gonna get the vote from everybody.
Well, I don't know that.
And you don't have a
Well, I don't know what
five
the-
board member either.
Well, exactly. Part of the thrust of my complaint with the Superior Court is that I'm entitled to a
Right.
five-member board. I was say backwards, five-member board.
You've never had one on this case?
From 2018 until today, I've never had 5 members of the zoning board of appeals. Never. On this one. You know, I may have on
Yeah,
plenty of other
I
ones,
get-
but
on
not
this
on this one. In fact, that's why the first one filed in 2018 went away. That's why the second one filed in 2019 effectively went away. And of course, another thrust of my complaint is when everybody on the board...
Maybe it'll look positive in court for you. If the town cannot give you 5 members,
But you don't want to sit there for 3 days anymore, Richard, I don't.
I mean, we've done it before, if we have to.
I know you have, I've done it to you before.
Yeah, so if we have, oh yeah, that's right. If we have to be here, there, we have to be there. Yeah, forget you've done it to me before, so. That's true, so it is what it is, we'll wait to see.
I will do what I gotta do, so don't be surprised if you get a subpoena from me.
Okay,
And if the judge orders us to come before you again, then,
Yeah.
of course, obviously you won't have to comply with the subpoena because the judge will have to continue the case.
yes.
So I think that's what I'll ask the 26th, but I've got to get all my stuff out on or before then, so I can't not do the things I have to do. And neither can Rich.
But don't we get like $35 a day for being in court?
Yeah, you get it from Nazi, he's the chairman.
And so that's, if 3 days, there's already $100 in it. It's almost worth going. More than,
We got things
Better
to
than
do,
social.
so I hate to throw you out.
Today, by the way,
huh?
it's $10.
Oh, it's $10 a day?
$10.
I don't know, my last check was,
Okay, for now.
We get mileage or anything?
my last check was $6 for being a witness, so I don't know if that changes anything, but,
$6?
and that was just a couple months ago, so I don't think prices have gone up too much.
Was that right up the street here?
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, the agenda,
the closest.
the agenda says discussion, and I've written, we had a discussion.
Pardon me?
The agenda says discussion, and on my notes for the secretary, I put discussion was held.
You're shrewd. Nothing else.
Thank
You're funny, too.
Thank you, Council, we just
you
gotta
for your
move
time.
forward. 42-22, Francis Ellis Jr., 7 Meadows Ave. And request to reconsider denial, another one. Okay. All right, wanna refresh our name and address?
Yes. Attorney Jillian Morton. I am the attorney on the project.
Yeah,
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
And do my address.
Francis Ellis.
Thank you. I will be very brief and direct on what I'm looking for here.
okay.
Bob, can you do that outside? We're having a hard time hearing these other people. Thank you.
If you don't mind, thank you, Bob.
Thank you. So we are looking for a motion to reconsider the denial, and what we want is to be able to reapply. The packet that you have in front of you has new information. You can do reconsiderations when there's new evidence, new information brought to the table. After the last hearing, it was a 3-2, not supermajority, but 3 of you said yes, 2 said no. I spoke to one of the abutters who was actually at the hearing and didn't speak up, so I realized that there was quite a bit of people in the neighborhood who are against a commercial use on this property, which is what I was telling you during the hearing, that it's a pretty residential spot. So we're asking to be able to reapply, and happy to answer any questions regarding that.
Were you here for a single house or duplex?
It was a single family. The Title V already is in there. And frankly, there was 2 dissenting votes, and I did poll also the denial from the town office. And although it was not appealed, it's not specific, to be frank. It just says that we don't want a use variance. It's a use variance, actually, considering that we're in CG and we're looking for residential use. So I would ask to let us reapply.
How big is the lot? I don't have it.
It's about 11,000 square feet.
Was that a house back in the day in there?
On the old field card, about 1920 it was built.
Yep.
When was it taken down?
Oh, but you don't know how long it stood.
Well, in that letter, and I believe it's the niece here today, one of the letters is written by a woman who lives in that neighborhood. It was her great-grandfather's house, I believe.
Handwritten one?
Yeah. So she gave a narrative regarding that house and, the kids who play on that road and
The house
all
that's
that.
not there now on this lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
And that would be 7 Meadows.
yep.
So on
Oh, yeah,
2014, you think the house was there?
I have a couple aerial maps if you allow me to pass it up.
Sure.
One's from early 2018, shows the house, and then late 2018 shows it actually
18.
happens to catch it with the machine on site. See, the foundation is still there, but the house is
All right, well, you guys looking, what do you think, Troy? We got a long night, so as fast as we can, please.
Mr.
Yes.
Ellis came to us in about 2017 to tear this house down, rebuild. We prepared plans. Mr. Ellis got a septic permit. He installed the septic system, and then that was in 2017. And he moved forward with demoing the house. It was in pretty bad shape. That was late 2018. And then, come to 2020, the world shut down, the town's closed. Mr. Ellis has also gone through at least 2 different inspectors looking at this over the 2-year time period after demolition. The most recent inspection, or most recent inspector at the time, Mr. Inquina, mentioned that there should have been a wall left. He was still within his 2-year period, but said, oh, no, you took the wall down, it's done. But he was still within the 2-year period of demoing the structure. So it's been kind of in a standstill at this moment.
I remember I denied it, but now that I see this, it kind of changed my mind. I thought that house was taken down a long time ago, not recently. But we'll see what the board says. Troy, what do you think? Do you mind reconsider?
No, I don't mind at all.
Veronica?
No, I'll reconsider.
Jimmy?
My consideration doesn't merit reconsideration. I remain the same. I was in favor of building. But I'll tell you what, we could make a deal. Aren't you the same company that wouldn't supply engineering for the poor guy in the garage?
No collusion on projects.
Maybe we could,
Focus.
no collusion on projects? Oh, sorry.
Richard?
No, I agree with what Jim said. My vote will still stand the way it was the last time.
All right, I don't mind reconsidering.
Okay.
All
That
right.
said, are we in a public hearing? Do we have to close? Do we have to discuss?
So they come back. No,
So we're going to reapply.
she has
Oh, you
to
have to
reapply.
reapply?
I
We
believe
can't-
that's, well,
can't
I
just
know
vote right now?
my brother said that you don't
have to
have to, but
reapply.
that is normally the process, is
All right.
people to reapply.
Get a motion to reconsider?
So moved.
Do I have a second on Jim's motion?
I second.
Second by Richard. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye. Richard?
Aye.
Okay,
you.
you got 500 to reconsider. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That was brief enough.
Thank you.
Tried.
Thank you.
Okay. 28-20, Harlan Morton. Special permit, 66 West Boulevard, request for 1-year extension.
Does he want that back?
Oh, yeah.
Morning.
Jim, do you want these back?
Yeah, I'll take them back. Sorry, good thinking, thank you. And you got one too, don't you?
Oh, actually, this is part of it, too.
Well, if bellow, this goes in it,
Yeah, I got
thank you,
that, too.
sir. You might have both, you got everything. You got Nazis too,
Piecemeal, thank you.
thank
I
you.
don't really want this.
Oh, you want to get rid of that?
All right, your name, sir,
here?
for the record?
Good evening, Bill Lockwood, Lockwood Architects, representing the Harlan Morton
Thank you.
estate. Revocable trust.
Hang on a minute, we're making a disturbance up here and not paying attention to you.
So that's okay. There's lots of times I'm not paid
Lots of
attention
times
to.
you're not listened to. You're married. You have
No
children.
comment.
Settle down,
No
Troy,
comment.
settle down.
96 Realty. Is this 96 Realty? 52 Marion. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
I have to remember to bring in water next time.
That's awful.
It's very dry and hot.
That was 7 Meadows. Okay. I'm back. And so we got 2820 Harlem Morton now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. If I put that one on him. $523, $823.
Is it before 523?
23, don't know if I have a folder on that. Doesn't look like I have anything on that.
Okay, we can proceed without it. Just fill us in, what was the special permit for?
Okay, so in 2020,
Yes,
we were granted a special permit for property at 66 West Boulevard to construct an addition, demolish a portion of the building, construct an addition more or less in the same position.
okay.
During the, as we all know, 2020 was the cusp of the pandemic, and it became difficult to get contractors to come to the project, and it's not an easy project, so they were being picky. We finally got a contractor that's interested in doing the project, but unfortunately, our 2 years has elapsed, and we'd like to get an extension.
The
so-
2 years elapsed already?
Has elapsed, yes. I believe in December.
If it elapsed, you gotta reapply. Why didn't they come before it elapsed?
Didn't know whether the project was going to go forward, quite frankly, so.
I don't know. Troy, what do you think? If you can't extend the permit, that's dead. It's dead. 2 years. If you come a day prior, yes, but how are we gonna extend it?
We'd have to do it retroactively. And then they wouldn't be able to give them a full year.
Our intent is to apply quite promptly for a building permit, so we shouldn't need a full year.
I got a question.
Yes.
I don't know that this is it, so I'm gonna, there was a permit issued by this board in Onset to some to some person from California, and they kept coming back every year and 364 days and asking for an extension. Is this the same person?
No.
Okay. Sorry to put it that way, but I remember the last time that,
No, I don't think so.
You know what I'm
I know, I know.
Yeah,
okay.
That one of the parties is from
I
out
don't
of state,
think
but it's not
legally,
California.
Mr. Lockwood, we could extend it. It's 2 years has passed. How can we extend a permit that doesn't exist?
It's Easter.
You get eggs?
Well, but,
Let me pass it. Richard, what do you think?
We could resurrect it.
I mean, there's been a lot of consideration with COVID times, and it's, quite frankly, wasn't anybody else's fault. Shut it down, you know
I
what I
have
mean?
no problem extending it, the legality of
I know
it.
the legality is 2 years. If it's something we can't do legally, then we can't do it. If we can do it and we can grant this, then I would be for it. But if legally we can't, then I'm against it.
I agree.
Yep, the same.
I think we're all on the same page. We just need to cross the Ts and dot the Is. We said yes before, we just want to say yes and let it stick.
Okay, what does that instruct
We'd
me?
like you to reapply.
You have to I don't think if we grant it to you, it's legal. We
Okay.
can't give you an extension, so
Okay.
you have to
So
reapply.
We do need to reapply.
Yes.
Okay, then.
And don't
we-
forget to come renew it before the 2 years is up next time.
Well,
Hopefully it won't be.
I mean,
that
if it's
long.
special permit, it should be no problem like it was before. Unfortunately, they have to spend the money and reapply.
what was it, what was it? Refresh, I don't remember it at all.
It's on West Boulevard, right there. Look, that's the picture.
Yeah, but
see?
what did we give them permission to do?
They want to tear down the house, rebuild it,
Oh, partial.
a partial of it.
We don't have the old folder, so I forget. That's the folder you gave us that time, right?
Yes.
Oh, is this the one that the son was working with the father?
No.
No, okay.
Not the California, not the son.
Okay. No, yeah.
Girl with the mother.
Yeah, the girl with the mother with the daughter?
There probably are mothers and fathers involved here somewhere, but
Yeah.
at least cousins. So basically, we're tearing off the back of the house,
Yeah.
rebuilding this in the back of the house, the front of the house.
And we had a big discussion about this, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you better reapply. Yeah.
All right.
So I was gonna try to find a way, but
So like Jim said, we did discuss it. So that's your discussion. You reapply. Sorry.
It's been a night for discussions without
yeah.
resolution.
Sorry about that. Very well. Continue public hearing, 5-23, 6 Chapel Lane LLC, comprehensive permit.
Discussed. Come on back. See you on the rebound, good buddy. You want 523 Six Chapel Lane.
So now the real business starts. That was just preliminary.
That was just for fun and games.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, and this shows you how real it is, right here.
All right, I just want to forewarn everybody, there's a lot of hearings, so we're gonna try to cut it as short as possible, if you guys don't mind. All right, so I believe this public hearing's been opened before and continued, correct? I just need your name, sir, for the record. Sir, your name?
Stephen Bushman?
Are you attorney in this matter? Are you the attorney in this matter?
I'm the owner. I'm the owner of the project.
The owner.
The owner.
Your name, Brian?
Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
All right, where's the attorney for the
We
matter?
have a representative online.
Okay,
You can,
who's that, Mrs. Sweet? Is it Miss Sweet?
yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Lynn Sweet, LDS Consulting Group. For the record, I am not an attorney, I am a consultant, and I do have a presentation if it pleases the board.
Okay, let's hear it.
Great. So it's wonderful to be here. We appreciate the board's indulgence in allowing the peer review to start before we actually present it in front of you. We think it's resulted in a better plan. Just on this first page is a sketch of what the two unit homes are going to be look like. They really should look like a home from the outside. However, they will have 2 units, one stacked on top of the other. You've met most of the development team tonight. Steve Beekman, who's known in town and has done very similar projects. Brian Grady with GAF Engineering. The architect is Anthony Frangiatis, and I'm Lynn. So just by way of background, unlike the last time I was in front of you, this has been a wonderful, friendly, collaborative process where we started the process by getting approval from the Wareham Affordable Housing Trust. We had a few meetings with them, as well as a meeting with the board of the select board. And both of them signed on to the application, as well as provided letters of support to DHCD during the project eligibility process. And many people also did attend the site walk when DHCD came for that. And the project eligibility letter was issued last summer, and that's why we're in front of you today. And I am not going to go through the ZBA process. I think you know that very well. So I'm going to skip over this slide in the interest of time, but happy to do a tutorial later if you think you need it. So essentially, our property is located in a multi-residence 30 district. The site has been previously cleared and leveled. We are proposing a total of 6 rental units in 3 residential 2-family homes. There will be walk-ups, and it will be served by public water and sewer. The site itself is 0.82 acres, and that equates to about 8 units an acre. We are providing 2 parking spaces per unit. All of the units are going to be 3-bedroom units, all 6 that are about 1,120 square feet. And many of the neighbors have provided letters of support, as well as local not-for-profits, and we're always happy to have that happen in these kinds of hearings. With regard to affordability, 25% or 2 of the units will be income restricted to 80% of AMI in perpetuity. That means the affordability restriction does not go away. Since there are only 2 units, we do have the opportunity that one can have a local preference. That means that anyone living, working, or having school-age children in town will have 2 shots at the lottery, a local lottery and then a general pool. All of the units will be counted on the SHI, and the town will be able to participate in the signing of the regulatory agreement, which is the long-term affordability agreement for the property. All of the units, whether it's market rate or affordable, are going to look the same on the inside and the outside. Prior to occupancy of the affordable units, a lottery will be run under the rules of DHCD. There'll be an affirmative marketing and tenant selection plan, so there'll be a lot of outreach on that. It'll be a very public process. And once the project is up and running, DHCD, as the subsidizing agency, will be overseeing the project, and every year the residents living in the units will have to be income certified, and every year there is going to be reporting on profit. There is a profit limitation when you do a 40B of 10%. I can go into that later if you want to know more about it. But at the end of the day, there is a lot of oversight. In fact, once if and when the ZBA issues their permit, this project goes back to DHCD for final approval. The site itself, if you're not familiar with it, is located on Chapel Lane. In just a great location near lots of highways, lots of amenities. It is, not sure if the site really shows how it was cleared, but it is a residential neighborhood of larger lots. And now I am going to turn it over to Brian Grady, who's going to go through probably what most of you care about, all of the site plans and the stormwater and whatnot. And if he just wants to tell me to scroll down, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just ask first, I know you're having a long evening. Has everyone seen the revised plans? Sonia should have emailed those to you. So if you're a little bit familiar, I'll just cursory explain to you what we're looking at now.
If I may, before we go with the details, Ms. Sweet, now, so this is a LIP program that doesn't go through housing? It's not like the regular 40B?
It starts at a different place. So a friendly 40B starts with the town signing the application.
Yeah.
So our project eligibility application went to DHCD rather than going to, say, Mass Housing, which is probably what you're a little bit more familiar with. So it's where you start. But so DHCD issues the project eligibility letter rather than Mass Housing or MHP. And then we come into you the same way anybody else would come in with our project eligibility letter, and all your normal rules apply, whether it's friendly or not. You kick the tires and review it as you would. It's just the starting point that changes, and the oversight at the end of the day. So our final approval and regulatory agreement would be with DHCD and not Mass Housing.
Okay, and who's gonna manage the affordable units? Which agency?
We contracted with Metro West Housing that has a ready renter program, since there's only 2 affordable units.
Yeah.
So every year or two, they go out and they create a huge big wait list. So when we go to market this, they will market it to their existing wait list, as well as they'll market it locally. So it's Metro West Community Development Corporation.
So the market units are $3,000 a month apiece, and the affordable one are $2,736. That's the number I see here in your file.
I honestly I have not looked at the numbers in a while. I can certainly take a look back to them. It's possible because Wareham is in the Boston primary market area. Which, spreads all the way up to Gloucester and into New Hampshire. So that is, I believe you may be correct as to, I don't know whether that's the affordable rent or what a voucher rent is, but I can certainly answer that question.
That's a voucher
right
price,
after the
but
meeting.
doesn't it goes according to the median income?
It is, but you're in the Boston median income area. That's the problem, that you're in the Boston primary market area. And because they're 3 bedrooms, it would be for a 4-person household.
All right. Any question to Ms. Sweet before we go with technical stuff?
And then utilities come out of that, or taken out of that, just any utilities they self-pay. But I will definitely refamiliarize myself with that, and sorry, I'm not prepared.
Did you have safe harbor declaration letter somewhere?
There, I'm not really sure if, since the, are you saying to me that the Wareham is in safe harbor?
I know you have to prove to us that you say, I know it's not, but my word don't mean nothing. I know we are less than 10%, but we need something in hand.
We have the state.
The SHI. We have the
Yes.
SHI that shows that you're below 10%. And even if you weren't below 10%, if you were over 10%, the fact that the selectmen signed on to the application, typically a municipality doesn't claim a safe harbor when they're supporting an application.
Ms. Sweet, there's a formula in the ongoing projects right now. If they add a certain percentage, I know now we have Littleton Drive going on, we have Settlers Glen, all these things, there's a certain number I think they cannot exceed. You cannot exceed, there's a certain percentage, I don't know the formula of it, and that's...
You as a municipality would have to have applied to DHCD for safe harbor to be a certified community. It's not something that us as a developer would do, so I think Ken would have a much better handle on whether or not your housing production has enough building permits to put you into safe harbor. But again, when a town signs on to a 40B, even if the town is over 10%, they can allow more developments. 10%
You're right on
is...
that one. You're right on that.
Yeah. So we did not look at safe harbor issues other than getting the SHI on this because it was supported by the Housing Partnership and the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Or Select Board.
That sounds, that makes sense, that makes sense. Okay. Anyone else before Brian starts? Richard?
Not at this time.
Anyone? Okay, Brian.
Okay, I'll give you a quick run-through. I think you stated you're all familiar with the revised plans before you. I have them mounted here on the table. Chapel Lane is located to the top of the page. We have proposed a U-shaped driveway, entrance exit to serve the 3 duplexes. We are proposing 12 parking spaces, 2 spaces per unit. All drainage will be located under the parking area in the front, partially under the landscape area. The chambers, they'll run through proprietary catch basins before they discharge to the chambers. That drainage area will take care of the pavement for the parking area, and the roof drains for the building will also all be connected to the drainage system. Project is served by municipal sewer and municipal water. Mr. Bushman is also a direct abutter to the project, located just to the south in the backyard of these units. So obviously he has a vested interest in it, and some of you may also be familiar with a couple of the other projects he's done, several teardowns located at 17 Depot and at 20 Depot. So if you've been by, you can see the kind of work that he does. I think they're very nice, clean operations that he does, nice buildings, working with the architect. So that's a very, very quick summary of the project, since you're familiar with it. And if we can open it up for questions.
You built the blue one?
Can I, let me just send out a few other things. I just wanted to also, we do, from a zoning perspective, we have provided a waiver list. It is a very short waiver list. For the most part, we are trying to comply with setbacks and coverage and whatnot. And we have also just provided, I don't know if you've looked at the architectural plans, but we did provide you with the front elevation, side elevation to the west, side elevation to the east, and the rear elevations. And then this is just basically looking at a slice of what the units will look like with mechanicals below grade, and then your first and your second floor units.
Okay, when you showed the elevation, did you show cedar impression or cedar shingle in that? Where is the siding?
Vinyl siding, we're going with the same.
So
as
you're
the
doing
property.
vinyl?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it cedar impression or vinyl?
Vinyl. Same
Okay,
product
just for the record, because if you're showing this, you're gonna have to stick in this. So for the record, it's vinyl siding?
Correct.
Okay, very well.
So is it vinyl shingles?
No, vinyl siding.
siding.
Okay,
Vinyl siding.
thank you.
Looks like
Okay, so we'll have to work with the NAFA on that and make sure that we get you the right renderings.
Okay. So, Brian, what's the waivers you guys asking for?
Lynn, do you have the list?
Yeah, I'm gonna just pull those up right now, if you don't mind. Let's see. So the waiver list has moved around a little bit. Just gonna make sure I was editing another waiver list while I was waiting. I just want to make sure that I'm not bringing up
While you
Sherburne.
find it, is a sewer easement being granted?
Here we go.
That's all set?
So basically, the first set of waivers is just because
Yes.
the comp permit rules and regulations have changed. So this is just sort of blanket things saying that we can't give you these things because they don't apply. So it has to do with your comprehensive permit rules and regulations. Probably seen that a few times on other projects as well. For the zoning waivers, we are basically in an MR30 district, and under the use regulations, you cannot build 6 homes on the same lot that meets the underlying zoning. So we're asking for a waiver on that. And I don't know, Brian, if you want to go through the groundwater protection one. It has to do with lot coverage.
Yeah, we have, well, a couple of the other ones, frontage for other use, multifamily like this requires 250 feet of frontage. We have 233.9 feet of frontage. We meet the side and rear setbacks, we conform with those. Building coverage, we comply with building coverage. We're allowed 25%, and we're just over 14% for building coverage. Groundwater, well, we comply with that. And again, we're on municipal sewer and water. And the project is close to being in the flood zone, but we are not in the flood zone if you looked at any of the maps.
You'll have to deal with conservation on that.
No, we're outside any conservation jurisdiction.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have any conservation jurisdiction. So most of our waivers have to do with the fact that we are increasing the density on the site. So,
All right, on curbing, landscaping, none of this, you're asking for waivers?
Well, landscape.
so for the landscape buffer, we have given you a landscape plan, and we're not seeking any waivers on it.
Is it signed by a landscaping architect?
No, it's signed by an engineer. Technically, a landscape plan is not required by bylaw for this project, but we did submit one.
Okay.
Yeah, we did submit a landscape plan, and we did comply
technically?
with the
Because it's a 40B?
coverages.
Well, no.
We're not putting any signs on the property, so we're not asking for a waiver of that. Each home will just have a number on it. And a lot of these, we've sort of been back and forth a little bit with with Allen and Major on it as well. And a lot of them are basically procedural, like site plan review and whatnot. So I don't know if you want, we assume, we're happy to go through them one by one now, or I don't know if you want to go through them in in another hearing.
The chair asked about the landscape buffer, Lynn, and Brian
Yeah.
started to answer, but you probably didn't hear him, so I'll let you answer now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, a landscape plan is required for more than 3, well, if I get the exact language.
Structures, it's the number of buildings.
Yeah, it's more than 6 units. We have 6 units. So it's only required for more than 6 units.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, but we can, I was going to say, we do have a landscape plan.
But we have provided a landscape plan, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hang on.
All right, Lynn, if you don't mind, so I guess you're not hearing us, so we're gonna concentrate a little bit with Mr. Grady here. So, what did Town Consulting came up with?
Mr. Cordero's here. We have gone through a couple of reviews. We have his second review letter. I don't know if you want to hear directly from him.
Yes, well, first of all, we would like to meet him. Where's Mr. Cordero? Finally, we asked about you many times.
Hi, good evening. Phil Cordero from Allen and Major. Good to meet you guys in person. We've done a few reviews, but we've not been in front of you.
Right.
So, yes. So just to jump in, I know you have a very long agenda. I will echo for your benefit what the applicant's engineer, and Ms. Sweet has put forth. They submitted the initial application. We started the peer review prior to it coming before you. And they were quite responsive to making some revisions to the plans to make what, in our estimation, are improvements to the project that hopefully you'll agree with. So what you see before you has addressed the landscaping element that Mr. Grady was talking about. The zoning bylaw, they had originally noted a waiver on it because the bylaw requests for landscaping for over 3 units. And because they're proposing 6 units here, we identified that for them, but they've elected to provide the landscaping plan. They've revised the layout of the parking and the building configuration to provide the side yard setbacks for the landscaping so they can comply with the local bylaw and remove that waiver. Other elements that came through for the first peer review is improvements on the stormwater system. Their system was correct, but there was some inconsistencies in terms of some of the drainage calculations that our first letter highlighted, and I'm happy to walk through them all. I just want to give you certainly the high overview. They've corrected most of those in the revision that's here in front of you, and we have a few straggler comments from our April 7th letter that we're recommending the applicant's engineer make one further revision to the plan. The current plan's, very minor detailing in terms of where the stormwater is flowing in terms of the off-site areas, and it's again just cleaning up inconsistencies. I think overall the application was good, complete, it was thorough. They've improved on it. The waivers, Ms. Sweet, we have corresponded with her through the planning director. Some commentary on the waivers that help to refine those to only the minimum necessary, requesting only procedural waivers and avoiding blanketed waivers, which I would recommend this board not approve, that gives an applicant sort of carte blanche to do things under the premise of affordable housing. So they, again, have been responsive to those. And while, again, we can support you walking through the waivers and we can give you our opinions to those, I think what's put forth now is certainly appropriate for development of this scale. It is in concert with the rest of the environment. Despite the project being slightly denser than the other lots around it, it certainly is appropriate in other ways. So you're really just granting a density waiver for all intent and purpose, and the additional procedural waivers that support it. So.
All right. If you don't mind, stay right there. What's the size of the bedrooms? I can't read them, it's too small. Size of bedroom, what's the smallest bedroom, Mrs. Sweet?
Hang on, I'm just going to my presentation. The bedroom, the actual individual bedrooms?
Yes.
Okay, let me just bring up the architectural plans. Hang on a second.
Maybe the owner know, do you know?
Pretty sure they're 12 by 12.
The smallest one's 12 by 12?
I believe so.
I see 10 by,
14.
let's see, yeah, they're, each one of them is different. I'm seeing 13 by 10, I'm seeing 10 by about 10, and then 9 by about 10.
9 by 10?
Oh, let me just see. Now, that one's got a longer back on it. I'm just trying to see.
Is that?
I'm trying to
standard,
scroll in
the
enough to
small-
see it.
Miss Sweet, is that a standard size for a bedroom? What's the smallest can be in Massachusetts? Maybe, Paul, can you
I
answer
can
that?
look up what the state sanitary code is, but I believe it's either 90 or 100 square feet per person per bedroom. But these are well in excess of that.
70 square feet? Okay.
Was it
You're
70
good.
square?
Safe.
Yeah. Yeah, these
very
are fine. The one is 9 across, but it looks like it's about
All right.
14. I'll try and bring them up a little bit bigger for you.
Safe, 70, you plenty.
Yeah, so this is like 9 by 7 by like at least 14. And this is, 13 across here, and this is at least 9, the same thing. This
Okay.
is at least 10.
All right.
They're big.
I'm just gonna pass it to the board and the public, and we go from there. Troy,
No questions.
Veronica.
I don't have any questions, but I would say, I know, the blue houses, are those the ones that you've done? Yeah, they're nice, nicely built, maintained, they look good, so this looks like it's gonna be a good project.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I got some comments. I will say that one of the projects that this applicant did, there were a lot of neighbors in opposition to his project, and then when it was done, they're sorry they ever said anything opposing him, because he did a wonderful job. He improved the neighborhood. I'd also like to point out that when we open this up to the general public, I have received, I have in hand here, at least 96 people wanted to come here this evening in support of this. And in lieu of filling the room with 96 people, they've signed petitions. And then in addition to those 96 people, I have, to be read into the record, another dozen or so letters in favor of this project. I'm hoping that I don't have to read them all in, but I'd like it to be on the record that well over 100 people wanted to show up here in support of this project, and that this will be in the file.
All right. Anthony did the architect?
Yes, sir.
All right, very well. All right, Richard?
The proposed plans look good, and like the way that he put the parking in the back of the building, so it didn't,
Well, that was the
Make it
first
look-
plan. The
Yeah.
revision were in the front.
yeah, no, but I like to see him in the back. It's nice, it fits the neighborhood
Well,
well.
but the revised plan, the parking's in the front.
Oh, it is in the front?
Yes, we revised it based on comments from the first peer review, and relocated the parking to the front.
Okay, sorry, my bad. But anyway, I like the project.
All right, that being said, in the public, anyone want to speak in favor for this project? Favor?
Well,
We have
Other than the
90
100 and
something,
whatever I've
100
got,
something.
yeah.
Now, anyone want to speak against this project? Want to come forward, please? Need your name and address for the record?
Jody Smith, Chapel Lane, 7 Chapel
Number?
Lane.
7?
Yep.
Okay.
That's a lot of letters. I live on Chapel Lane, and, Steve's done some great projects. They look great. My concern is with a friendly 40B, and I'm going to read the highlights of the friendly 40B development. The developer works cooperatively with the town boards to minimize density. This is cramming a lot of house into a small area. And I'm not going to bore you with a lot of numbers and stuff, but I'll try to be quick. I've been through enough meetings in my time. I'm not opposed to development. I didn't think for 1 second this lot was going to sit empty, and I knew it wasn't practical to put a single family on there. I knew that. There was an original plan put together maybe before the pandemic, maybe it was during the pandemic, for 3 apartment buildings, 700 square feet. I listened to it. I thought it was a good project. I thought it fit much better. It would be little impact on the town, little impact on the street. To give you an idea of what's there now, they're proposing 18 more bedrooms on the street. There's only 22 on there now with all the houses that are there. How many people? There's 18 people that live on that street now. Cars, 12 spaces, there's 14. This lot cramming in, these 3 buildings are on 18% of the total land on that street. The rest of the other 5 homes are taking it up. You know, and I understand a lot of the letters of support in his other projects and all that. I'm not disputing any of that. They're all great plans. But the safety factor is the main thing I'm going to harp on, the street safety. Chapel Lane, depending on where you measure, is between 16 and 17 feet wide. That's a narrow street. A lane is defined as a narrow roadway. Small streets, that they would like to see 20 feet, and if there's on-street parking is allowed, another 6 feet. We don't even come close to that. Not even close. And different towns have different regulations, I understand that. You know, you have to be careful. If cars are parked on the street, a truck doesn't get down there. A prime van might get down there, but a UPS brownie doesn't get down the street. Certainly not any emergency vehicles. UPS, a box truck, there's not a lot of space to turn around. I've seen more than one truck have to back out. If I get a delivery, I'm all the way down the end. We tell them to back down, because it's much easier to back down the street than try to back out of the street. There is no turnaround down there. It's very small at the end. And unless you're an experienced driver, it's tough. Pulling out of Chapel Lane is extremely dangerous. It's kind of like an unwritten rule. If you're pulling out of Chapel Lane and somebody wants to pull in, you kind of back out and get them off of Depot Street. Everybody flies through that light on Cranberry Highway. You know, it's, believe it or not, it's safer there in the summertime because the traffic's at a stop most of the time. Off-season, it is really, really dangerous, extremely dangerous. And you try to get people off Depot Street. I mean, we've had the telephone pole just taken down Easter night. I don't know what was behind that, but that's the second telephone pole right out there within the last year. So that is a real concern. In looking at this, you know, in these vehicles, you know, this development has got 12 bedrooms. Going by another plan in town, they predict for a family unit, there's 2.8 kids per unit. Now I'm going to use 2 per unit. The odds are there's going to have to be a school bus come down that road to pick somebody up at the front door. That's just, and I'm not going to get into all the numbers of town, how many kids need service and stuff, but that could be a major issue. Buses are not supposed to back up, they're not allowed to back up except in the case of an emergency. And the last thing, I saw this on there, the street light, about parking in the, you know, lights in the parking lot. That street light, and I have pictures here I can show you, I took them on March 30th at 4:30 in the morning. It doesn't light up a whole lot. It barely lights up the street, and they are replacing it. If you don't know, the town's got new lights coming in for everybody. But it's just, it's not sufficient for safety and those concerns. The drainage. Fact, every house on that street, including the corner house on Depot and Chapel Lane, get water. Everybody except for one house that I'm not aware of has sump pumps, and I can tell you where the water is pumped out of those homes. So drainage is a problem on that street. In looking at that lot, there's a pre-existing foundation buried which can change the way water runs. Knowles Ave, I don't know this is fact. You get water all over.
Sir, you'll have your chance to talk. One at a time. Go ahead, sir.
I'm only speaking what I was told. They say they all get water over there. Whether it's true or not, I'm just going by what I was told. So what I'm speaking to on Chapel Lane is fact, Knowles Ave, and
Yeah,
just
but
said
if the
that.
drain, if I may interrupt you, at 120 inches, there was no water found.
And that was done in July, in the middle of a severe
But
drought.
the engineer can see rust lanes, and he will mention this, and
I
his
understand all that.
drainage, let me finish. His drainage calculations is checked by our town engineer consultant, and I have and I believe Mr., sorry,
Cordero.
Cordero had asked him to modify it, and he did, didn't he?
He did on the drainage size and the layout, but with regard to the test pit, just to correct you, Mr. Chair, they dug down to about 120 inches. They found the features that you're referring to, which are rust-colored
120.
redox, at 72 inches and 66 inches, so much higher than 120, but they designed using those higher variables, which is correct
They
methodology.
used the low profile, the 2 furrows or something, concrete chambers, right?
For their system, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we've accounted for the high water as determined by redoxymorphic features, yes.
That's why we keep the houses.
All right.
That's why, if you look at 20, the blue house, and 17, that's why they're elevated out of the ground, so we do not hit the water line.
All right, sir, continue.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And I understand about the rust and all that, I mean, I've been around. But if you look at what's been done so far and the grading changed, I have pictures here, water pouring off of this lot and going down Chapel Lane. I can show you where it crosses Chapel Lane, and it does run down into the conservation land, and it goes into the river down there. So it does, that's how that gets captured with all the pavement and stuff in the front and the driveways. I really can't speak to that. I'm not an engineer, and I'm not going to pretend to be, but I can tell you what we're seeing now.
Let me, sir, let me, you can't blame everything on this project now. If they're gonna address, let me ask, going into Depot Street, is there a stop sign there?
No.
Okay, so we could ask, in 40B, you can only do so much. We could ask the applicant or the builder to work with us rather than say what the heck with you, because he could appeal us and do what he wants, and the town premium would go higher. So we don't like to do this. Not to mention, let me finish, not to mention there's a lot of people in support, but we could work with the gentleman. I'm for a stop sign. We could make the gentleman install a stop sign at the street. Street lights, we could have him update the street lights.
And no parking on the street signs?
And no parking on the street signs. We could add no parking on the street signs. We put no street, no parking on the street.
Well, I'm not concerned about a stop sign coming out of Chapel Lane. Coming out of Chapel Lane, you gotta sit and wait. It's getting people off of Depot Street. I mean, I've been cursed at, I've been sworn at, gestures, because...
I can see why.
It's very dangerous. It is, it's a hazard. People very impatient at lights, and if they can run it, they run it. I see it doing it at 5 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, so the drainage, couple of the other things is the site was, somebody said a residence, it was a old church. I mean, people have been down there. He did auto repair there. I watched him take 4 cars out of there. I think a 22E should be done for determination of any contaminated soil. I don't know what he did there. I never actually walked on that property the whole time I lived there. Steve could probably talk to that better than I can, but,
Sir, you gotta talk only to us. You can't talk to each other. We're running out of time, sir. 21E will have to be addressed with the Board of Health, State, DEP, or his bank. We
Okay.
can't make the gentleman make 21E.
okay, so part of this too is there's gonna be a lot of kids there, green space. What are these kids supposed to do for fun? I mean, it's kids are kids, you know, and there's not a lot of play area down there and things like
Yes,
that.
there is.
Go ahead, sorry.
You know, in closing, I would like to see the fire and EMS make a determination about being able to turn and come into Chapel Lane. I know they're putting wider driveways in there, I saw that. It's a concern, even with a 20, I think it's 22-foot driveway, even cars coming out of there, they're gonna be shining. I got a picture window right out front. There's no way that they're not gonna shine into the window. So that's just,
We will definitely get comments from the fire department and EMS.
you know, the financing of this, you know, I saw the letter. I know this isn't your concern, but part of this is, you know, I hope a bond is put up. That road was just recently paved when they put a new gas line in. I want to say 4 years ago, maybe it was 3. In the sidewalk has a lot of damage now. I would like to see that sidewalk fenced off. I saw somebody today trying to pull a stroller down there, or one of those wagon things. It's very dangerous. It's a hazard. And that whole area should be fenced off, so somebody doesn't get hurt.
The sidewalk,
The sidewalk, yeah.
is that in his property, sir?
Oh, it's from his trucks going in and out of there, the damage.
Well, I'm sure that's gonna be fixed and addressed when they do the construction.
I understand that, but I'm saying now, you don't want to wait till somebody gets hurt with the sidewalk the way it is now. and
He's on the hook if somebody gets hurt, unfortunately. He definitely will put a fence when he does construction, but if somebody gets hurt, that becomes his problem.
And a sediment battery you put up for runoff and stuff, you know, bales of hay or whatever. I know there's other things you can use. All right. So, yeah, you know, I understand, you know, all these people, it's a good idea, and I think the town does need affordable housing. And the other one you were trying to think of was Woodland Cove. You never mentioned, there's a bunch going in down there. But it's very concerning that, you know, I don't want to see the project get started and not have money to finish it either. A lot of projects have come in front of the town looking for public funds. This was told by the selectmen that it will be all privately funded. And there's being asked for some waivers in there for different fees.
We didn't get to the fees yet. I don't think we'll grant
But they are asking for waivers from what I...
waivers from square footage on frontage.
No, for waivers for the fees, that the $3,500 they already put up for the application fee, they want to waive the remainder of it.
We'll get to this.
Okay.
We have not asked for any waiver of fees. I don't know where that's coming from.
Okay,
Well,
thank you, Ms.
I
Reed.
saw it on there.
Sir, we haven't heard
I
this,
got it.
but listen, let's have some constructive comments. I do understand, like Mr. Semple said, we'll put no parking signs on street, stop sign, we'll have the developer put a stop sign at the end of the road. The street light, we'll have him fix it with Eversource, put a new one at his cost. Fire department, I guarantee you, fire department will have their words. If the fire truck or the EMS have a problem, they will let us know. So I'm sure there's some comments in that folder, we'll get to it. The runoffs, like you're talking, the light shining in your windows, I don't know what to tell you. The road, schools, police, we cannot discuss. That's illegal to discuss when it's 40B. It's discrimination if you discuss it. You can't even talk about schools or police.
The only thing I brought up about the schools is a bus
I
coming down
understand.
there. which
This
a
is
big
that
vehicle.
problem, we don't want to discuss that.
That's why I didn't get into that. I could
Right.
go a lot. but
So, anything constructive you could come up with, like the stop sign you said, like the street lights.
Nazi, I just want to say that we need to have a better understanding. I know you're saying that we're going to take care of those things. This is a very small project with very slim margins, so we would at least like have an opportunity to look into what the costs for doing that work might be before being asked to commit to it. I'm not saying that we're not going to, but just give us a chance.
Sweet. I didn't ask you to commit with it, and it's a suggestion, and at the end, it's up to the board. And if you don't want to do them, the board said, if the board don't agree, you won't get a permit. So I don't know what to tell you. So we didn't say, we're not making you accept. So, anything else, sir?
Not tonight.
All right, very well. Next person want to speak against? Thank you. We're running, it's already 8 o'clock. Thank you.
I missed favor portion. Can I speak in favor of the project, please?
Sure you
Yeah,
can.
and if it's in favor, please make it quick.
Absolutely. That's why I didn't go up the first time.
Name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Corey Allen. I live at 5 Chapel Lane.
I've met with Steve a number of times on the project as it's gone through different iterations. And similar to Joe, I had some questions for Steve. Steve has responded to all of my questions, and I'm in favor of the project. So I would like to see this project move forward as is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in favor or against? Okay, I hear none. Fire department, did we hear from them?
Not yet.
Not yet? Well, apparently EMS comes with the package. I would like you to consider stop sign, no parking signs on the street, the stop signs, and the street light to fix, street light put up for free.
That sign, those streetlights in town are town-owned. I inquired about them already because that one there in front of the property is flickering on and off, like Joe had mentioned. The one down the end of end of Chap Lane is completely out. Those are town-owned. I inquired with NSTAR. They said we had to call the town. I called the town, and nothing's been done. That was about 6 months ago.
You follow up with Mr. Menard, I think he'll address the issue.
Yes, sir.
And if not, follow up, not yet, sir. And if not, follow up with Eversource. I think they replace them with LEDs.
Correct.
A stop sign just at the
No,
end of the road.
Can I make a comment about that? I think it was stated by the gentleman who had the comments to make that a stop sign was not necessary there. He can't put a stop sign on Depot, which is where the issue is. Chapel, he said you don't have to have a stop sign. I don't think that was the issue. I think that no parking on the street might suffice because you're saying it's a narrow street, but I thought the stop sign was a moot point, that it wasn't necessary.
No, going out
I
of Chapel,
misunderstood.
it'd be nice, I know when there's no cross street, you have to make a stop sign, state law, but it'd be nice to have a stop sign. Suggestion, think about it.
I think that that's something that needs to be a conversation with the DPW. And again, it's something that we can certainly look into, but because it affects a lot of people, it's not fair for us to make kind of an arbitrary decision without at least researching it with the town to hear what their thoughts are on it.
All right, we're not making a decision tonight anyway, so something to think about.
Just
Quick.
real quick, the streetlight thing, the town is in the process now of replacing all of them.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And I've asked them to do Chapel Lane
All right.
quick.
Richard, what do you want to, we want to continue this, it's getting late. What do you want to send these gentlemen with homework to do?
Well, just what we've been following up with, what you said.
All right, Troy,
Yeah, exactly what we've gone over.
Veronica,
Yeah, just as I had stated.
Jimmy?
You know, I'm in favor of this project. I'm just going to repeat. For many years, I don't want to say a number and be corrected, but I can remember probably 30 years ago, visual flight requirements. One of the landmarks that you used to fly by was the burnt church in Wareham that sat there for, you know, I mean, I can think it's got to have been that way for at least 30 years. For somebody to come along and take a blighted property and do something, and the only word I can use is wonderful, as what's happening here. I think what we need to do is encourage this type of development. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to continue till when? But while we continue, you guys can sort out any differences, and fire department, if you could get an answer from them, please.
Yeah, we can go 2 weeks, and if we don't have
All right, very well.
information, we'll just request a continuance at that time.
So I just want to summarize what you're asking. We need to answer the last comments that we got in from Allen and Major and turn another, peer review letter back with them, and then try and do some research into the stop sign, the street lights, and the no parking with the DPW, and follow up with fire to ensure that they understand the auto turn. And that's all I've heard so far.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can we get a motion to continue till the 26th?
So moved.
I'll take them after.
Okay, do I have a second by that?
Second.
Second by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Nazir, myself, aye. 500. It's continued till 26. 8-23, Barber Investment, LLC.
Thank you.
Barber Investment, LLC for 2286 Cranberry Highway. Am I here? Jonathan, what's up with that?
Chairman,
Galassi. This is Assistant Town Planner Jonathan Dickinson. I've been in contact with Mrs.
Jonathan, one second. Hold on one second.
That's why the file is like that.
Why don't we get the revised plans in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Say it again, what happened to the storage facility?
This is Ms. Jackson for the building on the property, which is required a variance, but came before you last meeting as a special permit. So I've been in contact with her to discuss that it is a variance. And I have not heard back from this morning about withdrawing without prejudice to refile it for a variance.
Hold on, we way off here.
We're on Barbara?
Okay. That's not the storage facility.
No.
No.
Okay. So you saying it's not a variance? Is that
It is a
possible?
variance. Is that it went before you as a special permit, but it is a variance, and your request to her was to the applicant to determine what she would like to do. And I've been in contact with her since the last meeting multiple times, and to discuss that it is a variance. And I have not heard back from her as of this morning regarding to withdraw without prejudice.
Okay, very well. Okay, you guys remember that house on Cranberry Highway past the bogs? She wanted to do a duplex. Okay, and I guess she didn't come back, answer, so what do you like to do? Anyone here in that matter?
I thought we denied her. I thought we just...
No, we told her we're gonna give you a week to think what you wanna
That's
do,
right,
if you're gonna
that's right.
spend your money or not. I guess she knows she's not gonna spend her
She's
money.
not coming back, I guess, so...
So let's make a motion to close that hearing.
So moved.
So we have a motion to close by Jim, 8-23 for Barber Investment for 2286 Cranberry Highway. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Yes.
Second by Veronica. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye. It's closed. What's the...
So we're denying the special permit. I make a motion to deny.
We'll have a motion to deny the special permit for Barber Investment LLC. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye. So that's denied. So that's gone. 286 grand. Public hearing, Chester and Deborah Ruzjonsky, 9-23 for 11 Weaver Street.
This one has to be read, I believe.
Yes. Vanka, is Patty still doing the minutes?
Patty, yes.
Okay. So
Patty,
I hope she's getting all these. I'm sure she is, she's good.
And there's a couple going this way.
She does a good job doing the minutes, but I just never see any of Jim's remarks put in there. I don't understand.
She's doing a good job. Some of them are valid, yeah. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on April 12, 2023 at 6:30 PM in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 9-23 for a special permit from the requirements of Article 6, Section 613 under the Wareham zoning bylaws to Chester O. and Deborah M. Rosinski, care of GAF Engineering Incorporated of 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing a 36-foot by 28-foot detached garage with office/apartment located above at 11 Weaver Street, Wareham, Mass. That appears on Wareham Assessors Map 102, Lot 1005B, in the MR30 zoning district.
All right.
Hi, Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. So thank you for reading that in. So you have in your packets there, do they have the visuals, Bill? Or the pictures? I'm not sure if they do. That might be helpful.
pictures. I
Do you have
like
pictures
I
in your
love
packet?
pictures.
Okay.
I have some 11 by 17s if you'd like.
We've got them, I think
Some
we've got,
visuals is what I was,
I think we've got 11,
Okay.
we've got
Do you have-
plans, oh, maybe we got big plans. You got 11,
I
17?
do have 11 by 17s if you'd like.
do you want smaller ones? You gonna bring 'em?
Smaller ones, test our eyes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I have one. Well, I have the big one.
You have the big one.
You have a big
yeah.
one? Okay.
The little one's
Um,
just,
All right, let's hear it. So what's the plan here?
Okay, so this is a construction of a 28 by 36 detached garage with an apartment above. So this garage is proposed at the end of an existing driveway. Okay, so you can see that on the plan. We're in the MR 30 district. And so I don't know if you want to take it from here, Bill?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan. I'm Bill Madden from JF Engineering here on behalf of Chet Brzezinski. He's Chet the plumber, for those you guys might have seen his van driving around town. He's a Wareham resident, a longtime resident for a number of years. What he'd like to do is construct the garage as shown in the plan, the 20 by 36-foot garage with essentially apartment space above it. We had discussed just using that space above the garage as office, but as that discussion kind of evolved as we were preparing the plan, it evolved to the point where he really wants to have an apartment for his daughter to live in the house. So that, not in the house, but in that particular structure. So that's what we're actually seeking here, is to have another principal dwelling placed on the lot. You might see the letter from the building commissioner that stated that the plan that was presented and the application that was presented indicated 2 principal dwellings on a lot, and we needed to obtain a special permit to construct that. So if we want to go through the zoning bylaw, section 613 talks about 1 principal residential building per lot. Goes on further to state that with an accessory structure having a residential use. So the garage would be considered that accessory structure that's normal and customary with a single-family dwelling, and the space above it would be considered that residential use. So we think that we've complied with that portion of it. It does state that except where multiple family dwellings or apartments or condominiums are allowed by special permit. So in that MR 30 zoning district, 2-family is just straight up allowed, it's a yes. Don't know if you'd really want to consider it multifamily, but 3 to 4 family in new buildings is special permit planning board. 5 family in new buildings is a special permit zoning board. We're just looking for 1 additional principal use. So we think that we've met that requirement in showing that a condo or an apartment is allowed within the MR 30 zoning district, which leads us to believe that an accessory structure with a residential use falls in line with 613 of the bylaw. And the special permit can provide for more than 1 principal dwelling or principal unit on the lot. So now we would have the 2 principal dwellings on the lot, the existing house that's here, and the proposed garage with the apartment above it. So in order to get that garage with the apartment above it, we can be in the MR 30 zoning district, but other allowed uses within the MR 30 district have to include apartments or multiple family dwellings, which they do. If we go to the tables in the use tables in Article 3, under residential, you'll see under the MR 30 zoning district that 3 and 4 family units, 5 family units in new structures are allowed. So we believe that we meet that requirement as well.
if you look at the plan, we did show the structure being compliant with all elements of zoning. We meet our front yard setback, our rear yard setback, side yard setback as well. It is a large lot in the MR30 zoning district. It's 1.71 acres. So it's like, 75,000 square feet. So it's essentially better than 2 times what the minimum lot area is in town. So we're not trying to put 2 principal units or 2 principal uses on a marginally sized lot. It's a rather large lot. So we're also indicating that it will have its own sewage disposal system, Title V system, and will also be provided with its own water service from either from the house, it should be from the street, it's just shown continued. It can come from the existing dwelling as the electric can, but I assume that they may want to separate out those utilities and provide individual ones for each structure. But that's essentially what we have before you. We think we comply with the requirements for a special permit. We think we meet the standards, and be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Just for some technical typo, in the zoning data, you required 45,000 square feet and frontage 200, which you have, but you show in here 30,000 and 150. You
In the
need
MR30
45.
zoning district.
Huh?
In MR30, I think you're
Yeah,
thinking,
for a duplex, you need 45,000.
but we're not stating this is a duplex. We're stating these are 2 principal uses.
Yeah, an accessory structure with,
Access structure is another dwelling, you need 40, which you have, you need 45,000. If you have a 30,000, you'd need a variance. But you do have.
You got it.
Yeah, no, I know, I realize that. I think that we did not think that was the case, but
I
we
know,
accept
but you need
your opinion on that.
245,000, which you have.
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so bottom line, you need a special permit to separate them, that's it, right?
Basically.
Correct.
Instead of being attached.
I got a
Alright.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the septic, through the board, but the garage is gonna get its own septic.
Yes.
Where's the septic for the existing structure?
The septic for the existing structure, let's see.
Do you know?
I'm just looking on the plan. I personally don't know exactly where it is on the site, other than it does have its own system.
And that would be, I'm not Board of Health or any of that jazz, and I just know that a couple things that came to my attention in the last few years, somebody put up a building and found out they built it too close to a septic system. And I just was hoping it wasn't between this new structure and that pool, or behind the house, and that only kind of leaves me that it has to be in the front yard. Am I wrong?
No, I think, I probably have it in the file. I didn't bring
Yeah,
the complete file
I
with
guess
me.
my question is more like the robot, warning, warning.
I guess they find out when they dig the foundation.
Yeah.
All right, Troy, what do you think? So bottom line, they have enough footage, enough frontage for a duplex. They want a special permit to separate them.
Yep, I see that. I don't have any questions right now.
Veronica,
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Jimmy?
No, I think it's a good project.
Me as well, Richard?
Yeah, nothing at this time.
Anyone in the public want to speak against this project? Oh, I'm sorry, in favor of this project? I hear none against this project. I hear none. What's the wishes?
Do we need any additional information, or are we ready to make a decision tonight?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion of this hearing.
I have a motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Veronica. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye. Discussions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented.
I have a motion to approve as presented by Jim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Richard. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
And myself, Nazir, aye. It carries 500, granted. as presented. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
10-23, David and Jody Guest Friend. Special permit 8
Anything
Beach Plum Lane.
Turn in on that. That's on that one. It was a good, you have a nice walk?
Same people, both of you?
Yeah, the next two.
And do you have a thing from the last one, Richard, that I can put in the folder? Sorry about that. You always, no, that's all right.
All right,
Okay.
Good about that.
that's going.
I'll read it in a second. I just want to put this one away. Is that going in here or something else? Oh, that's a good, yeah, we should fill that up more often. We're on guest a friend, am I got the right thing here? Yep. Okay. And here you go, so that, see, they look just like the last one, we got them mixed up. Get that same logo. Yeah, one for you and one for him. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on April 12th, 2023 at 6:30 PM in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571. To consider petition number 10-23 for a special permit from the requirements of Article 6, Section 621, under the Wareham zoning bylaws to David R. and Judy O. Gustafriend, care of GAF Engineering, Inc., Incorporated, of 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to construct a new addition within the same footprint of the existing deck, demolish and rebuild the deck above the new addition, and finish part of the basement at 8 Beach Plum Lane, Wareham, Mass. That appears on Assessors Map 28, Lot M7, in the R60 zoning district.
All right.
Thank you. Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. So this petition in front of you is for a special permit in the R60 that you've heard that address. So what we are looking for here is the build is taking down a first floor deck and constructing the first floor addition and a second floor deck within the same footprint. So we understand that we received the denial letter from the commissioner. When I was reviewing this, it sort of looked like a de minimis review, but I understand we're here and we need to say that this is not substantially detrimental to the neighborhood. The applicants are looking for this to kind of be their place to be for long-term. So I think making the property work for them long-term would be great. I spoke to them as well as the abutters. You can see in your packet that I provided a bunch of abutters letters in support, so I didn't see any opposition to this. It really speaks to reconstructing these waterfront homes, which we know are, there's a lot of that happening here, and I think there was some real thoughtful planning on how they're constructing it. So if there's any technical questions, we can go to Mr. Madden over here.
All right, Mr. Madden, let's hear it.
Yep.
With respect to the project, we've been before the Conservation Commission. Conservation Commission has approved the work that's proposed. It's within the 30-foot no-activity zone under the local bylaw. We presented the plan to them some time ago, and it was approved. The plan in front of you shows a shaded area, calls it the existing deck. That is the existing footprint of the existing deck that currently exists. It's kind of, it is open underneath. It's, I think, quite a bit of lattice that's around it. The deck, you access the deck from the first floor, the first living floor above the lower level. The thing that I think put us in front of zoning is the fact that on that, what is it, the westerly property line, you'll see that there's a dimension there that says 10.5 feet. Side yard setback is 20 feet. in the town, so, in that zoning district, rather. So we felt that the de minimis portion of the bylaw, 1390, basically allows us to change something on the non-conforming side of the building that's no closer than 5 feet from the sideline. We're not looking to get any closer to the sideline. We're looking to keep it at the 10.5 feet. However, zoning does require 20, so it's really a non-conforming conforming element of the building. But with respect to that de minimis standard in the bylaw, we feel that we're compliant with that, as we're 10.5, which is greater than the minimum of 5, with the understanding that it is an in-kind replacement of that deck with essentially a two-story, I'll call it two-story ground floor and first floor structure.
So the deck is an existing non-conforming?
Yes.
Do you want to give, what number is that, the de minimis?
The de minimis is under 1390 of the bylaw.
Yeah,
Right. Under 1390, we could act upon it as a special
Right.
permit versus a 1390 or 1355?
1390.
it just talks about the de minimis. It is a special permit, that's what the commissioner said, so is it substantially detrimental to the neighborhood, so.
It could be a variance, if the board feel like it's a variance.
If we thought it was,
Detrimental.
Yeah, detrimental.
All right.
So who's,
Go ahead.
so who's, that line that you're 10 feet away from instead of 20 feet away from, who's on the other side of that line?
Beach Plum Lane Trust.
I'd have to look
I mean,
it up in
it's
the
just
butters
another,
list.
just another residence.
Another residence, yes.
And they're not here yelling and screaming, no, 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 don't get so close. And their deck is already that close.
Correct.
So they're gonna take the deck and turn it into a room and put a room on the roof, or a deck on the roof of the room they're gonna add.
Correct.
So, okay. I get it.
Yeah, that's
I just
probably one
wanna-
of the abutters. I mean, we have 9, 10, 7, like all the
Troy,
direct
what do you
abutters.
think?
I don't have any problem.
Monica?
I think going from a deck to a foundation in a building is a big change, myself.
You think it's detrimental to the neighbors? I think it's a good project. It's good. Like Jim said, nobody's screaming.
No,
Where's-
nobody is complaining about it.
Where's Beach Plum Lane?
That's right here.
Where in the world
Oh,
is,
down Great Neck,
what?
Great.
Great
Right.
Neck?
Yeah,
Burgess
it's
Point.
R60.
Go past the little harbor
Yep.
before you get to Little Harbor Beach.
Right here, Jimmy.
It's on the
Here,
left-hand side.
the last two houses before you go to parking lot.
Oh, this is, yeah, okay. You go past the golf course, and you, just before you enter, just before you get by the guy that says you can't come here without a sticker, you take a left and you
There's
go
no
into...
guy, it's a sign.
It's not, it's a sign.
Oh, no, there's a gentleman there.
In the summertime,
Oh, there's a gentleman there. He
in the
works very
summertime, they
diligently.
pay
drive
somebody to keep
They'll get you.
all the non-sticker holders out of there. You know?
All right, let's get going,
Anyways,
getting late.
Okay, now I
Richard,
get it, yeah.
Yeah,
what do you think, Richard?
I'm fine the way that it's presented.
Jimmy?
Well, yeah, I'm for it.
Anyone on public want to speak in favor of this project? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we are the owners, David and Jody Gasfriend. Thanks so much for reviewing this. And the abutter on the immediate side that you were questioning about has submitted a letter, and our attorney has that letter supporting the construction. So not just the, periphery of the property, but the actual abutters next door that directly abut adjacent to this property, this construction plan, have sent a letter in approving of it.
Thank you. All right, anyone else here want to speak against? I hear none. Anything else, Counselor, before we close?
Yep, I think we're
Good.
all set.
I make a motion to close the public portion of this hearing.
I have a motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Monica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Richard?
All right.
Myself, Nazir, aye. Any discussion?
I make a motion to approve this application as a special permit, finding it not detrimental to the neighborhood, as per the plans provided. And do we need the date on the plan?
The plan is December 9th.
December 21st, 22.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion by Jim to grant, according to the commissioner's letter, that's a special permit, and his findings are not detrimental to the neighborhood. Do I have a second on Jim's motion?
I second.
Second by Richard. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Abstain.
Jimmy?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
And myself, aye. 401, it carries.
Okay,
So which one is this one?
let's have them back.
10, 23, 4.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. You get to get up and stretch your legs, because you're quicker than me.
All right, 11-23, Peter Kuluras, trustee, a variance on 3127 Cranberry Highway. You all right, Bob, over there?
I think they might have the plans in the packet.
I sat back down.
You're good. Oh, you want to get the new one? At some point, well, Grandma was slow, but she was old.
We're all getting there, we're all getting there.
Yeah. So, here you go. Here you go.
Have you marked?
I have half size if you'd like them as, again.
Okay. Half size again, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I like the, I can't read this one, thank
He
you.
likes the big one. I like to be able to peek. Oh, and I still need to read it. That's what we're waiting for. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on April 12th, 2023 at 6:30 PM in room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 11-23 for a variance from the requirements of Article 6, Section 623, under the Wareham zoning bylaws, to Peter Koulouris, trustee, care of attorney Jillian Morton of 184 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to construct a 30-foot by 40-foot commercial building at 3127 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass., that appears on Assessors Map 8, Lot B, in the Strip Commercial Zoning District.
Very well.
Excellent, thank you. Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. So you should have your packets in front of you. On that first page, I usually lay out who the owners are and the deed and all that stuff. So Mr. Koulouris is the owner. He owns also another parcel nearby. And what we're looking to do here is we had a Form A parcel that was created. And now we're looking to see if we're able to get a smaller commercial building there, 6 parking spots you can see. So rightfully so, we received a denial letter from the commissioner, and that should be Exhibit C for you. So you can go through, you can see that we have 2 variances here, minimum lot area and minimum frontage. So we are short on that frontage, as well as the lot area that we need for the 30 by 40 commercial building. So we need to hit the variance thresholds to be able to get these variances and have it approved. So,
Excuse me, is there any building on the lot at all right now?
I
Okay.
can describe the current, so if you can set yourself where you are, you know that there's the Meineke muffler, his building, and then there's the kitchen place on
Okay,
Cranberry
yeah, yeah.
Highway. And then there's a big parking lot, sort of, okay? So there's a couple of different things that went in there, but
So
right now
the,
there's
so
just
the
vehicles.
the Thomas Michael's parking lot, the kitchen place, their parking lot, the big parking lot there, the guy that had all the trucks and everything in there once before, he's
Yeah, so
moved
they
up
were
the street.
gone,
Yeah.
And the
Okay,
client has purchased
okay, so,
this other parcel, so there's the
I get
Thomas
it now.
Michael's in between, if you can
so in between the
visualize
old Windjammer Restaurant and the old boat shop.
that. Yeah.
Yep, I get it now, now I know where we are.
Okay. So we originally went in getting this lot separated because then the Thomas Michael, there was still conforming. So now we have this smaller lot. We're looking to have some thoughtful development there. Mr. Coloris, so he owns the Master Muffler and Brake. He has been in town for a long time and has a great reputation. So obviously his business has expanded. And it's really of value right now. He has some vehicles over there, but it would be, again, commercial space. We're always saying how valuable that is to have a building there, to have some parking spots, to have it defined rather than being this big open parking lot where really there's a imaginary line where there's a lot line between Thomas Michael and my client. So when we're looking at this lot, it's unique in that it's behind, we have Cranberry Highway, as we all know, but behind there as well is the railroad. So it was created through the Form A process. It is a rectangular shape, so as far as shape goes, it doesn't have that. But it's unique in the fact that it's pretty similar to other lots on Cranberry Highway, to be honest with you. If you looked at the lots, even though the square footage is you need more. There are a lot of smaller lots on Cranberry Highway. So it wouldn't be out of the norm to have the structure on the smaller lot. It would be a hardship to the client to not be able to build on this. Essentially, it would leave this piece as a parking lot. So I guess it's, an idea of what does the town of Wareham want for Cranberry Highway, highly traveled area now. So I know we have a 30 by 40 building. It's really small in comparison to other buildings that, and he tried to do, again, thoughtful development here. Mr. Madden prepared the plans. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions. We can go into more of the details on the plan if you want, Bill, to talk about. There's already a curb cut there. I know that that's going to be a question. There's actually one that's on that lot, so we wouldn't have to be going for a curb cut.
I like, I know he's jammed there. I'd like to see him parking, moving a lot of his cars over here. It'd be nice, but would it be opposed to maybe add more parking and do some site plan there, some drainage and landscaping to ease the parking? I mean, because he's jammed in the other parking, he's like, you have 6 here, maybe add another 4 spaces and do some drainage and some landscaping to dress it up.
Is it the intention, excuse me now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it the intention that this is an extension of his existing business, or is this going to be a completely separate?
Yeah, well, if you'd like, we can have Mr. Coloris come up and just chat. Would you like to come up, Peter? Okay.
Well, Mr. Pelora, sit down. Troy, what do you think?
I don't have any questions right now.
Veronica?
So this lot was divided, was taken from Thomas
Kitchen guy,
Michael's?
Yeah.
And it's now,
Separately owned.
but the lot as itself, just divided, doesn't conform to anything other than having parking, which is desperately needed for the muffler place. So,
Right.
okay.
That's too bad the kitchen is not on the right, then he could.
Yeah.
So I think why I wanted Peter up here is I haven't had a chance to discuss if he would be opposed to site plan, but he was kind of nodding. I think that would be something
Yeah, of course,
that
we'll be not opposed at all.
Be open to that.
I don't know, let me see what Richard think. What do you think, Richard?
I'm fine right now for,
I mean, I'd like to see more parking spaces if possible. I don't mind giving a variance for more
In other words,
spaces.
more pavement, or?
More pavement, because it'll be much better than jamming all the cars in his business where he does the muffler thing. Give him another 6 spaces here if he's willing to do landscaping and drainage and dress it up. I mean, he's gonna dig it up anyway, do a full site plan review. What do you think, Jim?
I think that I asked a question, and he came up to answer it and never got a chance to answer it.
Oh, go ahead, answer it.
As far as being an extension to my business, that's the plan for right now.
Just your name for the record, sorry.
I'm sorry, Peter Flores, the owner.
I know, if you had just said Peter, I'd know who you meant.
Yeah,
When you said
everybody knows
Mr.
Peter.
Cloris, I was looking for his father, you know? So, okay, so right now, it's, but, I mean, it sure would be nice if you could just build Thomas Michaels a nice new office and have the other side, but,
We can still try
you know,
that.
coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know, but, you know, I don't have, you know, all I can say is that as long as I can remember, this person has run a good operation in this town, and I think we can do anything we can to support him, and I'd be in favor. I'd just agree to anything he wants to do within reason.
Wouldn't it be better to put the building in the back and have
That was-
all the side parking?
More towards the,
Put it in the back, all the way to the
Building back more?
mid to back is what what we'd like to probably do.
You want to be able to hide some behind the building and put some out front.
Correct.
So what's to prevent this property from being developed and then sold as a separate property and not remain part of the muffler business that's, I mean, because I think everybody in the town would agree that some extra parking is, you know, you need parking for that. So I wouldn't be okay with this as a separate entity on its own and just be able to sell that off and then no longer have a benefit for the muffler place. For me, it would have to be linked with the muffler place in some way.
Can you tie it up with the deed somehow? Will you be willing to?
Tie it up into the deed, that it would be a part
Like
of
to
that
be in
business.
perpetuity together?
Yeah,
You got no problem with that?
I don't think so, no.
So it'll have to be sold
Correct.
together?
We could tie it as a deed, so correct, if one property was to be sold, that would be sold along with it, so we wouldn't be able to sell it separately.
Ain't going nowhere.
The man, I
His
mean,
father didn't go.
I
His father.
understand, but, you know, nobody lasts forever, and someday he, you know, I understand your point, but it wouldn't bother me at all to see a taffy shop or something sitting there, and, you know, in the future when he decided to retire, so, but I suppose you could come back and repetition to
Yeah.
separate them.
I have my 2 boys,
So-
they're the ones that can decide that later on, so.
Yeah, you get somebody that...
sounds like he's avoiding fighting. He's giving one and one the other, and they'll be happy.
That's-
All right,
yeah,
see, there we
that's
go.
part of the plan.
Yeah, like the Zions.
So Peter, can you put it all the way, why you don't want to put it all the way to the 10-foot setback?
Because he might want to put some cars out back there and have them...
Now remember, there's no setback with the railroad. You could go right to the property line.
Well, the pad, it's over, so it doesn't really show, but I think it's right in
Pad is in here,
Yeah.
just where you have this.
Yeah, but what if the bathroom's full and he needs to go behind the building and pee?
You know there's no setback with the railroad? You could go right to the property line?
Right, we can go to the property line. I'm not opposed to moving the building more
Towards the railroad?
towards the towards the railroad, correct.
And build it 2 feet away.
Yeah.
You want to just
And
give
face
enough
it to the highway and put more parking. You could have like 12, 13, 14. More parking, the merrier.
Yeah, we can go over to the 10, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
What about his-
I was really thinking, you know, as more towards the back anyways, not completely back to the railroad like Nazi's suggesting, but as close back as I can with leaving some room to go around the building.
You want to give the fire department room to get back there in case something happened?
Correct.
I mean, right now, the building is shown as 61 feet back from that rear property line, so there is quite a bit of latitude. If, for example, if we were to move it like 5 or 10 feet off that rear line, you know, that would free up a little bit more space. And just anticipating, before we came to the meeting, anticipating that a landscape question might come up, the way this is laid out right now, just
It's all paved, the whole thing's pavement now,
today
right?
it is, correct. But the way that we show this is you can almost put 50% green space on the lot, which is pretty excessive. in the area. I mean, if the desire is there, you know, there's an ability to put some green space on the lot, I think is what I want to say. I don't think that we would want to put 50%, and just by way of example on this plan, that's what it represents. So there's some room to work with that, to achieve that goal.
So if you do 6-foot landscaping, you know, like plant some giant arborvitaes all the way around, few shrubs around the building to spice it up, some flowers in the front, coming in, something to spice, some with colors. And some drainage, of course.
Yeah, it needs it, we know that.
Yeah.
And add more parking. I would say, don't you guys agree to have more parking? Add as much, I mean,
I would like
I have no
possibly-
problem granting a variance for
Yeah, I mean, I would
parking.
like as much parking as I can possibly keep there.
Gonna park the cars, whether it's grass or pavement, they're going there anyway, so, you know.
Add more parking, more drainage.
Yeah, and as far as, you know, you see that little dotted line, that circle in the rear of the lot?
Yeah.
I have a picture right here of the adjacent property that we took back in 2016. It's around the 43 contour that's shown right here. So that's what occurred back there in August. So the
Yeah.
soils are kind of a little iffy back there, but if the building was placed there, you could raise it up, put some drainage in the front, and it could accommodate.
Well, you have this because it's
Yeah, we don't need another car wash.
settled. It's the silt in there.
See that 43 and that 43.
But you can wash cars there.
So the soils are a little shaky over there, so it's really an ideal place for the building.
Right, I think the soil is a little bad because all the silt collected and clogged it over the years. That's all what it is, but it's nice and sandy there. It drained beautiful. If you do the drainage properly, it'll be fine.
No, you're exactly right.
All right, so you have no problem doing a little site plan, basically?
We can, we'll probably need like a little bit of time for that.
Yeah, you need a month, right?
Probably a month. And we can, I don't know if Ken wants to, is Ken on here still? Re-advertise or how?
No, no advertise.
We're good, okay.
You just come back.
So how much do you think?
I'll pass it by the board, so add more parking, site plan, landscaping, drainage, just like a site plan.
Yep.
And add as much parking as you can. Is the board all on the same, the right direction to grant the variance for gentlemen?
Yeah,
Roy?
I am.
Veronica?
Like I said, I feel like
You'd like
there
to
should be
see
a
the...
connection somehow, because I do feel like Master Muffler needs some help with parking. And I just would hate to see another big business and then a lot of parking gone away.
We'll discuss the deed matter next meeting, but you're in favor, like, if they do site plan, landscape and drainage, all that, and more parking to grant a variance? Yes? Okay, Jimmy, you in?
I'm good, yeah.
Richard?
Yes.
Okay, anyone in the public want to speak against or in favor of this project? Okay, I hear none. Wouldn't you like to come back?
Month.
So is that the
It's gonna
10th,
be up to
the
the,
10th or
you
the
know,
24th,
Oh,
right?
good.
How long is it gonna take you to have a site
He said
plan?
a month.
10.
Month?
24,
10th or the
I'm not here.
24th?
10.
What is it?
24, I'm not here. The
The
10th.
10th or the 24th?
When you're here the 24th?
24th, I'm not here.
So if you come back on the 24th, you won't have Nazi.
We will not
You'll have to put up with me.
Want to bump it?
I mean,
We'll bump it to the
I'll
next
go
one.
on Zoom, but I don't promise because where I am, it'll be at 4 in the
We'll
morning.
go to the next one.
So let's do the 10th, May
What-
10th.
What's the intent
next
in
one
the
or
building?
Do the
The
10th or you
next
want-
one,
June?
26, that's 2 weeks.
No, they're looking at the 14th.
6 weeks, I guess.
June
it is.
14th.
Can we get them into June?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So June
June
14th.
14.
If we
Okay.
take one, yeah.
What's the intent for the building?
But as of right now, an extension to the business, to Master Muffler right now. Yeah.
So are you gonna have a couple bays, couple lifts in there, or is it just
Probably, yeah.
probably?
Yep.
You're gonna put somebody, the mechanics that you trust the most over on their own, or?
Yeah, and then I have my two sons too, that, you know, maybe we'll split the two of them up so there's no fighting like he said, so.
Okay, can we have a motion to continue
So
until
moved.
June 14 for 11-23? So I have a motion by Jim, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Veronica, all in favor say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Jimmy?
Yep.
And myself, yes, Nazi. So we'll see you on June 14.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good night.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
June what, 14?
June 14. Okay, anything you guys like to?
What did we do with Beach Plum Lane? Did we send them on their way? We
Beach
said
Plum
yes.
Lane, 401. Veronica abstained. It carried.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She wanted the foundation, or the,
I wanted a foundation? What?
because of the foundation, because a deck,
Oh, yeah, yeah, 'cause-
sorry. If it was just a deck, there's no, but with the foundation, you feel it's
All right,
intensifying.
you guys want to adjourn or discuss anything?
I'd just like to ask, so I see JC Engineering went through with that building anyway, so what they did is they didn't like our decision of no over next to the Heron Run, and now the building is in there. So they must have,
No, that was,
No, your decision, our decision, we did not grant them, I wasn't here, but you guys didn't grant them a duplex.
okay, so there's only one,
No, I think they,
One,
building a
he's
single
allowed by
family.
right for one.
oh,
Yeah,
all right.
next meeting.
Well, I could have
He
sworn,
came before
it
the
kind of
board
looked like
for
it
a
was a double unit going in the way it was set up, so I didn't walk over there myself, but I looked across the street, and I was just curious what was going on with that.
looks like
The
a raised
lot,
ranch.
the house he's building now,
Yeah, that's a
that's
one
a
unit.
separate lot.
Yeah.
He came before the board a
He
couple of
wanted-
years
he wanted-
ago,
He wanted two-family,
and the board said no.
so he put a one-family,
For
which is
one
fine, by
family.
right.
Being close to the herring run, I guess it's conservation, I don't know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
sir. Thank you for being here.
And then second, we got Minot Ave, we're digging up and putting another development just right next to Minot Forest School.
I looked into that.
What's going on there?
That was, the history of that is.
I thought that was Minot Forest. How come we keep putting things
It's
in?
not Minot Forest, that's not we, that was privately owned. That, what you're seeing there
Because when I
was
look on the
part,
map, it says Minot Forest. That's the only reason why. I mean,
Yeah,
it went right
that-
down to the road. Yeah.
that was part of the Narrows condominium. The Narrows condominium are those two sets of Swedish condos on Minot Avenue. A doctor started, and they did phase one, then they did phase two. I actually lived in phase two for a period. Phase three would have been going down Minot Avenue towards town, and there would have been 3 more buildings with 4 units in each building there. Phase 4 was what you're talking about. It was separated by a piece of land that allows you to get into Minot Forest.
Yep.
There is Minot Forest that fronts that fronts Minot Avenue, but that parcel that's being cleared was part of the Narrows condominium. That would have been Phase 4. That would have been 4 buildings with 4 units in each building, 16 condos. What the condominium, and I went and talked with one of the board members just last night. What the association, what the condominium members decided was they didn't want to have 16 more units and have the maintenance and the roofs and the this and the that. They're happy with their 27 units, the size they are. So they created 4 separate building lots, and they sold them off, and they're being cleared as 4 separate building lots. I don't know what's going. I don't know if it's gonna be 4 single-family homes. What's there could have been 16 condos.
Yes, because when I drive up, I see on the right-hand side, it says private property, no trespassing, all the way up from the corner of Great Neck Road to the school. And I just see that everything is on the side of the roads, there's no trespassing private property, so I just was inquiring about it.
And I
But
get
So
it.
it looks like Phase 3 is just a little too wet for them to build in, and on the bottom there, or is
Down
that?
below, no, the foundations phased, the project went belly up way back when. The foundations for 3 were in.
So these are being sold off
I
as
lived there,
separate
the
units?
foundations were there, and I was the one that brought it to the attention of the board that if some kid, went in there and fell in that foundation and cracked his head open, all 27 condo owners could help support him in the hospital, and they quickly hired an excavator and crushed up the foundations and caved them in. Back then, you couldn't sell I bought my condo for $55,000. I would sell any condo in there right now for over 3. Back at that time, they just, the doctor that started it started a great project. They were wonderful units. The economy was such, he ended up going belly up. Then somebody else came along and did phase 2, and then
And then to keep on Minot Ave, it just seems to be that across the street from the school, they got the lot with all these boulders in there.
that was part of Snow and Jones. That was part of the Snow and Jones
I remember him
property?
coming in, and I remember talking about, oh, yeah, we're just gonna store some stuff there, but there's nothing been done on that lot since they tore it apart.
Yeah, I've talked with Mike about that, too. And he's doing that, if he's a real estate person, so if he sells something and gets a big commission, you might see something happen there. But he's not borrowing any money from the bank. So that's what's happening there.
But he should not have went clear if it's over 50,000 square feet without site plan.
I think we approved one, there's drainage and everything, there's a lagoon, we approved it all.
No, the one he has, we approved. That used to be Snow and Jones, not the empty one, we never
The empty
approved.
lot, yes, we did.
I think we saw where he was,
And he
where it
came
came
back and
across.
asked for permission to change the size of the retention pond. If you go in that driveway, there's 2 driveways, one towards Wareham, one towards Buzzards Bay. The driveway towards Wareham, and then there's the lot that you're talking about, or the section that you're talking about that he cleared. If you go in that and you look down to the left, that's the plan that we approved, that's where his retention pond was, right there. And then they changed the size of it or something, and
All right, now we're gonna battle the window.
Yeah.
All right, let's make a motion to close.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Veronica, all in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Aye. Richard and myself, aye. It's closed. Thank you, Bob.